just wanna be there to hold you tight. Only you alone really matters to me. I wanna love you. I want your love. You're the one who gives me satisfaction.
Ready to tackle that building project? Start right. Start here at H&L Rapid True Value for building supplies. The time by H&L Rapid True Value is
Nationwide time, 5 o'clock.
Learn about smart betting strategies with AnyBet. Bet wisely, enjoy responsibly, and maximize your success. The temperature by AnyBet is
31 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 26 out west in Montego Bay.
From the Nationwide News Network, comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Robianne Williams.
In Nationwide News at this hour, the Prime Minister's job approval rating hits 43%, the highest it's been in more than 2 years.
That's according to the latest nationwide Blue Dot polls powered by Total Tools.
And voters in St. Elizabeth and Hanover give the Prime Minister his highest job approval rating, but there's trouble in St. Mary.
Agriculture Minister Floyd Green says the previous PNP administration's management of the portfolio as disgraceful and shameful.
The approach that they have taken is quite disrespectful to the hard-working farmers and fishers of Jamaica. They have not even found it appropriate to have a sitting member shadow agriculture.
Jamaicans urged to guard against the effects of the Saharan dust that's currently affecting the island.
In news from the rest of the world, the State Department warns Venezuelan nationals to leave the U.S. immediately due to extreme safety risks.
U.S. embassies worldwide ordered to immediately stop scheduling visa interviews for foreign students.
In headline sports, Jamaica scores late winner over Trinidad and Tobago to reach Unity Cup final.
And later in our broadcast, in the cover story at 5:35.
The Nationwide Blue Dot polls, powered by Total Tools. Total Tools, they almost always have it.
The Nationwide Blue Dot polls say the number of Jamaicans who are satisfied with Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness's performance has increased. We'll get reactions from Associate Professor of Political Science and Public Policy at Elon University, Dr. Damian Blake, and Assistant Lecturer of Public Policy at the UWI Mona campus, Damian Gordon.
In Public Opinion at 6:26, we ask, on a scale of 1 to 5, how much do you trust Dr. Andrew Holness as Prime Minister? Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio, and message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693. You can also leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide 90FM.
At 8, it's Prescription for Life with Dr. Andre MacDonald.
And at 9 p.m., it's Affairs of the Heart with Rodney Campbell. Tonight's topic, is it okay to miss your ex after a breakup?
All these and more as we take you home on air on your mobile, Nationwide 90 FM, Nationwide Radio, JM.com, and on the Nationwide app. It's available on the Google Play and the App Store. This Tuesday afternoon, it's Tuesday, May 27, 2025.
News at 5 is brought to you by the Crispy Barbecue Zinger from KFC. Back for a limited time with the flavor that makes everything crunch. KFC, it's finger licking good.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
Now the details.
The Nationwide Blue Dot polls, powered by Total Tools. Total Tools, they almost always have it.
The job approval rating of Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness has hit its highest mark in more than 2 years. That's according to the latest nationwide Blue Dot polls powered by Total Tools. 43% of Jamaicans now believe Dr. Holness has been doing a good job as Prime Minister. It's the highest figure recorded since late 2022. Ricardo Brooks has the details.
The Blue Dot pollsters asked 1,618 registered voters between May 2 and 17 to rate the performance of Andrew Holness after 9 years as Prime Minister. They were asked to rate him on a scale of 0 to 10, with 0 being extremely poor and 10 exceptional. 43% of respondents say Holness has been doing a good job. They rated him between 7 and 10. 35% say Holness has been average at his job. They gave him a rating of between 4 and 6. 22% say the Prime Minister has been poor at the job. Those respondents rate him between 0 and 3. It should be noted that Holness's positive job approval rating has rebounded by 11 points from the low of 32% recorded in 2023. Holness is also enjoying consensus across genders, with 43% of both men and women rating his job performance as good. That's up 3 points for men compared to 3 months ago. There's also been a marginal decline in the men and women who say Holness has been average or poor at his job. The decline is just outside the poll's margin of error of plus or minus 2.3%. When age is considered, it's the middle-aged and older voters who are giving Holness his best job approval ratings. Nearly 50% of voters 55 to 64 years old say Holness has been doing a good job. 25% of that age group disagrees. They say he has been a poor Prime Minister. It's a similar story with voters 45 to 54 years old. 24% of them say Holness has been poor at the job, while 46% of them say he has been good. Interestingly, voters 18 to 24 years old were most likely to rate Holness's job performance as average, with 44% of them saying the man they call Brogard has been an average Prime Minister. 18% of them say he has been poor at it. The time for choosing draws nigh. Jamaicans across the country are no doubt asking themselves the question, has Holness been good, average, or poor as Prime Minister? They'll soon get to render a formal verdict. It won't be long now. Buy I put on, and a not na go, a sit na come. We'll see. Ricardo Brooks for Nationwide News.
The Nationwide Blue Dot Polls, powered by Total Tools. Total Tools, they almost always have it.
Meanwhile, voters in St. Elizabeth and Hanover have given the Prime Minister his highest job approval rating across the 14 parishes. But there's trouble for the JLP in St. Mary, where 38% of voters say Holness has been poor at his job. That's the highest poor rating he receives in any parish. Holness enjoys a net positive approval rating in 11 of the 13 parishes, as Kingston and St. Andrew is grouped as one. In Trelawney, his net positive rating is 0, as 29% rate him good and poor. Mahiri Stewart has the breakdown.
48% of voters in the Breadbasket parish of St. Elizabeth and the northwestern parish of Hanover say Andrew Holness has been a good Prime Minister. 23% of voters in St. Elizabeth say he's been poor at the job, while 17% in Hanover feel the same. 45% of Clarendon voters say Holness has done a good job, while 20% say he has been poor at it. In Kingston and St. Andrew, Portland, St. James, St. Thomas and Westmoreland, Holness's job approval rating is above 40%. Those who think he has been doing a poor job is at 22% or less across those parishes. In Manchester, his positive approval hits 38%, with 28% saying he has been poor at it. The positive rating stands at 33% in St. Anne. 23% gave Holness a poor rating. But St. Mary stands out in stark contrast. Voters there are sour on Holness's job approval. More than a third of them, 38%, say he has been a poor Prime Minister. With 35% saying he has been a good Prime Minister, Holness has a net poor job approval rating of 3% in St. Mary. This cannot be good news for the JLP chairman Robert Montague in Western St. Mary or the State Minister of Labour Norman Dunn in Southeast St. Mary. Both are trying to fend off strong PNP challengers in their seats. If conventional wisdom holds and voters vote based on their assessment of the party leaders, those challengers may prevail when the votes are counted. It's to be seen. Mahiri Stewart for Nationwide News.
And Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness has reacted to the latest nationwide Blue Dot polls. Speaking at a groundbreaking ceremony for the Ferry Pond pipeline on Tuesday, Dr. Holness asked voters to carefully reflect on which leaders have been open and honest with the Jamaican people.
I don't usually speak about polls, but there's an interesting poll about trust. And as I reflected, Peter Phillips made his goodbye presentation in Parliament, and he said, "You are the politician who went down to Mandeville and tell the people about bitter medicine." It's a funny thing, because having myself and Peter Phillips would have been the two who would have had the greatest experience in dealing with the IMF in that critical time. And when I went up and met with the IMF, I was under no illusion as to what was necessary. Some people came and said they will get an IMF deal in 2 weeks and they will be able to take GCT off electricity. Of course, none of that could happen. He himself came back and said when he met with them, it was sobering. So if you're talking about trust, who is telling you the truth? Who is not sugarcoating and hiding?
According to the nationwide Blue Dot polls powered by Total Tools, public trust in the Andrew Holness-led administration has reached its highest mark in 2 years. When asked if they trusted or distrusted the Holness government, 46% of those polled say they trust them. The 46% expressing trust is the highest level recorded in the Blue Dot polls since 2023. At the same time, distrust in the administration fell from a high of 57% 2 years ago to 43% in the polls. Dr. Holness is urging Jamaicans to examine the track record of delivery as they make up their minds during the election season.
Let's start from 2002 to now. And you will see that these projects that we are breaking ground for today are not new projects. They were on the books, many of them, for a long time. Did it start? Was it procured? Was it because they didn't have the intention? Was it because they didn't care? Was it because they're just lackadaisical? No, they didn't have the money. We are in the promising season. We are in the season where you're going to be exposed to good intentions all around. It doesn't matter what you're promised. You have to look at the track record of delivery, number one. And number two, does the promiser, does he have the wherewithal to deliver?
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness.
Disgraceful and shameful. That's how Minister of Agriculture Floyd Green characterized the tenure of the previous PNP administration's management of the portfolio. The minister delivered a scathing critique during his sectoral debate presentation on Tuesday, comparing it to what he sees as the significant progress made under the Holness administration. Siobhan Campbell tells us more.
The minister says the opposition PNP has served nothing but disrespect to the nation's farmers. He cited the unprecedented lack of a sitting member of parliament currently shadowing the agriculture portfolio.
I am now convinced that the present opposition has no regard for agriculture and fisheries. In fact, Madam Speaker, the approach that they have taken is quite disrespectful to the hard-working farmers and fishers of Jamaica. This is not the Roger Clark or Michael Manley opposition. This opposition seems foreign. They have not even found it appropriate to have a sitting member of the House shadow agriculture. I have searched our history and I am yet to find a time in Jamaica before this one that no one on the opposition benches is specifically tasked to deal with agriculture. It is a shame.
Currently, the portfolio of agriculture is shadowed by the PNP's Dr. Dayton Campbell, who does not sit in either houses of parliament. To further hammer his point home, Minister Green says not a single question in relation to agriculture has been asked during the Standing Finance Committee 2 years running.
To add insult to injury, this year they asked the spokesperson on energy, a man who represents East Kingston and Port Royal, to speak on behalf of our farmers. What he delivered, members, can only be described as a ChatGPT dissertation around the common problems in agriculture and fisheries. It was disgraceful. Yes.
However, Minister Green says what is more frightening is their tenure as government in relation to agriculture.
They oversaw no significant investment in irrigation in their 22 years. I researched and I looked to see what was their significant irrigation investment. You know what I saw? They spent between 1998 and 2015 developing the National Irrigation Plan, and they never implemented one project. Everything for them is in the pipeline. They are the pipeline national party.
Siobhan Campbell for Nationwide News.
You're listening to the news on Nationwide at 5. We'll have more after these.
Celebrate 26 years with IQ Optical. Enjoy 26% off your prescription eyewear and sunglasses this month only. Book your appointment or take your prescription to IQ Optical in New Kingston, Manor Park, or Drexel. Conditions apply. The time by IQ Optical is...
It's 15 minutes after 5.
Rentokil Initial offers air purification solutions with triple filtration and unique auto-sensing capabilities that neutralizes malodor and replaces it with clean air. Call Rentokil Initial at 926-4236 for more details.
The temperature by Rentokil is
31 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 26 Southwest in Montego Bay.
Experience the joy of buying a brand new Hyundai without breaking the bank. Yes, buying a brand new car should never leave you broke. From stylish designs and safety features to comfortable driving and reliability, Hyundai is the choice. Hyundai vehicles come standard with 2 years free service and 5 years warranty and roadside assistance for your peace of mind. Drive 2 years without service cost and 5 years without fear of being stranded. Hyundai. Conditions apply.
Continuing the news, the Ministry of Health is advising the public to guard against the effects of the Saharan dust that's currently affecting the island. The ministry says excessive exposure to the dust particles can have severe health effects. This includes increased risk of respiratory and related illnesses such as asthma, chronic obstructive pulmonary disorder, and respiratory infection and allergies. It also says skin and eye irritation can be experienced. Additionally, the dust can affect water quality. Director of Environment Health at the ministry, Michael Williams, has issued precautionary measures for persons who are already experiencing or who are prone to respiratory illnesses. He also shared some tips for the general public.
Members of the public, particularly those with pre-existing respiratory conditions or those prone to such illnesses, are encouraged to exercise extreme caution and observe the following precautions. Stay indoors as much as possible. Wear face mask when venturing outdoors. Wear long-sleeved clothing and protect your eyes with eyewear. Additionally, all Jamaicans are encouraged to wash their hands regularly and avoid touching their eyes. Ensure that harvested water is properly treated before use. Cover water used for domestic purposes, including drinking and food preparation, to prevent contamination.
Michael Williams, Director of Environmental Health at the Ministry of Health. The ministry says the arrival of the Saharan dust layer is not an unusual occurrence for the Caribbean. It notes that this occurs annually, usually between May and October. The ministry noted that the plumes are usually short-lived, lasting no more than a week.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
The World in a Minute. The U.S. Department of State has issued a warning to its nationals in Venezuela to leave the country immediately due to extreme safety risks. In an advisory on Tuesday, the U.S. says its citizens have reportedly been victims of wrongful detention and unjust charges of terrorism. The advisory places Venezuela at the highest travel ban level. The State Department stresses that Venezuela is currently the country with the highest number of wrongfully detained U.S. nationals. Several Americans have reportedly been detained at land borders, airports, and even maritime ports of entry. The situation is further complicated by the absence of a functioning U.S. embassy or consulate in Venezuela. The department says it's unable to provide any routine or emergency consular services to its citizens in the country.
The Trump administration has ordered U.S. embassies worldwide to immediately stop scheduling visa interviews for foreign students. It's the latest move by the U.S. government that could deter international students from studying at universities in America. Each year, hundreds of Jamaican students apply to pursue higher education at U.S. universities and colleges. Dana Davy reports.
According to a 2024 Open Doors report on international education exchange, the U.S. hosted more than 1.1 million foreign students at its universities between 2023 and 2024. It says the over 1 million students originated from 210 different countries. The findings of the report also showed that foreign students contributed $43 billion to the U.S. economy during the 2023 to 2024 academic year. But those contributions could now be in jeopardy. On Tuesday, the Trump administration disclosed that it will pause new student visa applications at U.S. embassies worldwide. The directive was disclosed in a State Department cable to international consular sections. It was signed by U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. According to the administration, the move forms part of an expansion for social media screening and vetting to all applicants for student visas. As such, all future student visa applicants will be subjected to social media vetting. The move could severely delay visa processing and hurt universities that rely heavily on foreign students for revenue. The Trump administration has already revoked scores of student visas. It has also stopped foreign students from studying at Harvard University, a move that has been halted by a judge. About 27% of the university's student body is made up of international students. The State Department's orders could severely slow down the student visa process and create significant backlog. The U.S. says consular sections, which issue visas, will need to take into consideration the workload requirements of each case prior to scheduling future appointments. It's also instructing embassies and consulates not to add any additional student or exchange visa appointment capacity until further guidance is issued. However, appointments that were already scheduled can still take place. Dana Davy for Nationwide News.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour, the Prime Minister's job approval rating hits 43%. That's the highest it's been in more than 2 years.
That's according to the latest nationwide Blue Dot polls powered by Total Tools.
And voters in St. Elizabeth and Hanover have given Prime Minister Holness his highest job approval rating. But there's trouble in St. Mary.
Agriculture Minister Floyd Green characterizes the previous PNP administration's management of the portfolio as disgraceful and shameful.
I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Roby Ann Williams.
You can find the news on our website at nationwideradiojm.com and on the Nationwide app. It's available on the Google Play and the App Store. News next, the headlines at 6.
News at 5 was brought to you by the Crispy Barbecue Zinger from KFC. Back for a limited time with the flavor that makes everything crunch. KFC, it's finger licking good.
KFC is back with the Crispy Barbecue Zinger. So delicious, this one is a winner. Spicy with bacon, onions, cheddar, the smoky barbecue sauce.
The Crispy Barbecue Zinger from KFC is back. A delicious spicy zinger with bacon, cheddar cheese, crispy onions, and smoky barbecue sauce. Available for a limited time. The craving that makes everything crunch. KFC's Crispy Barbecue Zinger. It's finger licking good.
The Crispy Barbecue Zinger from KFC with the smoky barbecue sauce.
you're a VIP with CIBC Caribbean. Spend US $100 or local equivalent with your CIBC Visa credit card for your chance to win a crop over VIP experience in Barbados. An all-expense paid trip for two, staying at the Courtyard by Marriott Hotel, cultural tours, and Aura Experience with full glam makeup, plus tickets to the hottest last lap events. Visit CIBC Caribbean /crop over 2025 for more info. Conditions apply.
Sports at 5 is brought to you by Total Tools. They almost always have it.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. Jamaica's national senior men's football team beat Caribbean rivals Trinidad and Tobago 3-2 at the GTEC Stadium in London on Tuesday to advance to Saturday's final of the 4-team Unity Cup tournament. Casey Palmer gave Jamaica the lead on 25 minutes with a cheeky penalty after Ronaldo Cephas was brought down in the area. Romain Burrell made it 2-0 in the 53rd minute. The Soca Warriors responded almost immediately thanks to Isaiah Leacock. Captain Kevin Molino brought Trinidad and Tobago level 6 minutes later, and just when it seemed the penalties would decide the game, Richard King scored from the spot with a minute left in added time after Cephas was again brought down.
Casey Palmer is the one that is going to step up and take it, and scores coolly with a Panenka penalty from Palmer to score his first goal in Jamaican colours. Towards Palmer, and again, and he does get his shot away, and there's the improvised finish to make it two, and it's a debut goal for Romain Burrell. Trinidad and Tobago try and respond straight away, and they do! Here he comes then, Cardines. Brilliant effort, so unlucky but in, and Trinidad and Tobago are back on terms. Kevin Molino following up to score. 2-2, powerful penalty. King finds the top corner, and Jamaica surely have won it after all.
And Jamaica's coach Steve McLaren says the team should have put the game to bed from the first half.
It was always going to be a difficult game for the full 90 minutes because one day's preparation was not ideal. People flying over, jet-lagged. Most of the players not playing for 3 weeks. And so they've done remarkably well to come away with a victory. Delighted with the first half. I thought we were excellent. Really should have been a few more than just the one we got. And then we got the second and relaxed a little bit. And then we thought we were just planning for penalties, and thank God we got a penalty just for one. And Richard King smashed it away perfectly.
Yeah, that's the Jamaican coach Steve McLaren. You're going to hear a lot more from him in our next sportscast at 6:05.
This is Nationwide's Champions League Facts.
Did you know that Lionel Messi and Luis Adriano are tied for having scored the most goals in one game? Yes, that's a fact. In 2012, Barcelona's Lionel Messi scored 5 goals in one game, a single game record for any player. His feat was equaled in 2014 by Luis Adriano of Shakhtar Donetsk.
That was Nationwide's Champions League Fact.
Brought to you by AnyBet, your best bet, and ATL Automotive, keeping Jamaica moving.
South Africa's brilliant young sprint star, Beyanda Walaza, will be in Kingston for the 7th staging of the Racers Grand Prix at the National Stadium on Saturday, June 7. Walaza will be one of 4 sprinters from South Africa added to the lineup, along with Sensifo Dembele, Gift Leolita, and Naheem Jack. Walaza, the reigning world under-20 sprint double champ and lead-off runner on the South Africa sprint relay team that won at the World Relays a few weeks ago in world leading time, will contest the 100 meters along with Liot Lela. Walaza has the world junior record in his sight after clocking 9.94 seconds to win the 100 meters in Zagreb this past weekend. He says it would be great if he gets the world junior record in Kingston, where he's always dreamed of running. Meanwhile, the world 200 meters champion Shericka Jackson and the Olympic sprint hurdles bronze medalist Rashid Broadbell have also been added to the list of stars down for the meet. Jackson, who won the 100 meters at the Morocco Diamond League on on Sunday, will contest her pet event, the 200 meters, while Broadbell will look to add to his victory at the Doha Diamond League meeting in Qatar on Friday, May 16. Tickets for the Racers Diamond League, well, yes, it probably may become a Diamond League at some point, but at the moment it's still the Racers Grand Prix. The tickets will go on sale on next Monday. West Indies A reached 237 for 8 after 45 overs at sports time against South Africa A in the final game of their 3-match one-day international series at the Darren Sammy Stadium in St. Lucia. Shakir Paris fell 4 runs short of a century. He went for 96 after slamming 10 fours and 2 sixes. Jamaica's Javel Glenn weighed in with 52 and Jide Gooley 30. The tourists lead the series 1-0 after winning game 1 by 42 runs. Game 2 ended in a no result. And finally, in sports at this time, the West Indies will now turn their attention to the 3-match T20 International Series against Ireland next month after the ODI series ended 1-1. The first game is set for Margaret Hampson on June 12. Coach Darren Sammy says he's expecting the team's good form with bat and ball to continue in this format.
When you make an investment, you don't expect so much high returns so quickly. And Casey has defied the odds, and long may that continue. And I know it will continue because of the work he puts in. And so are all the guys in different roles. Some are developing faster than others, but it's on the upward. And that batting has been really good for us over the last year. Now is for us to do that away from home. We struggled to do it away from home. You talk about the Sri Lankan series, the Australia series, but now we saw what we did in Ireland. Barring that first 10 overs in the first game, the batting has been solid. So it's good when you have competition for places coming from performance. We look forward to another good batting display, but so too our bowling, especially with Jaden Sills with that new ball, is also improving.
West Indies coach Darren Sammy. We're going to be back with more sports at 6:05 this evening.
Sports at 5 was brought to you by Total Tools. They almost always have it.
Tired of waiting for your ride? Want safety and peace of mind on every journey? Amber On Time is here. With verified drivers, real-time vehicle tracking, and panic button with armed security response, your safety is our priority. Reliable service, easy booking, premium experience, it's all just a tap away. Download Amber On Time today.
KFC is back with the crispy barbecue zinger. So delicious, this one is a winner. Spicy with bacon, onions, cheddar, and the smoky barbecue sauce.
The crispy barbecue zinger from KFC is back. A delicious spicy zinger with bacon, cheddar cheese, crispy onions, and smoky barbecue sauce. Available for a limited time. The craving that makes everything crunch. KFC's crispy barbecue zinger. It's finger licking good.
The crispy barbecue zinger from KFC with the smoky barbecue sauce.
Spring into style with Unique Living. Upgrade your home with our extensive range of products. Get sleek shower panels, stylish vanities, LED and non-LED mirrors, plus kitchen sinks, closet solutions, ceiling fans, and more. Available in various finishes and sizes. Visit shop number 6, 30 Dunrobin Avenue, Kingston 10. Call 876-755-3661 or visit our website at www.uniquelivingja.com. Don't wait to spring into style with Unique Living.
You're a VIP with CIBC Caribbean. Spend US $100 or local equivalent with your CIBC Visa credit card for your chance to win a crop over VIP experience in Barbados. An all expense paid trip for 2. Staying at the Courtyard by Marriott Hotel, cultural tours, and Aura experience with full glam makeup plus tickets to the hottest last lap events. Visit CIBC Caribbean /crop over 2025 for more info. Conditions apply.
Football fans, it's the clash to determine Europe's king. When Inter Milan battles PSG in the final of the UEFA Champions League, live on the big screen at Carib 5. Join us on Saturday, May 31 at 2 p.m. for the ultimate match day experience. Brought to you by the Amber Group, Nationwide News Network, and Palace Amusement.
Dumfries, first time!
Big goals, big screens, and big vibes. Tickets are $500 for general admission and $800 for box seats. Limited tickets available, so grab yours today at the Carib 5 box office or online at palaceamusements.com. Feel the thrill of the Champions League final, just like you're in the stadium.
Tune in to Nationwide at 5 from 6 to 8 p.m. on Thursday, May 29, as we highlight the University of the West Indies, Mona's UWI Star. UWI Star is a short-term advancement and resource center specializing in short and professional courses. Learn more and build a better future at the University of the West Indies. Unlock your potential and expand your horizons with the UWI Mona's UWI Star. It offers dynamic short courses designed for flexibility, focused on your future. Whether you're upskilling for promotion, exploring a new industry, or sharpening your job-ready skills, our cutting-edge programs are your gateway to growth. Learn anytime, anywhere with courses built to fit your lifestyle and career goals. So tune in to Nationwide at 5, Thursday, May 29 from 6 to 8 p.m. Bridge the gap between education and real-world demands with the UWI Mona's UWI Star. Catch the live stream on our YouTube channel at Nationwide 90 FM Live 2. All this and more only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by the University of the West Indies. Visit www.mona.uwi.edu/short course and take your first step towards a brighter, smarter future today.
Cover Story is brought to you by Hyundai. Modern, premium, affordable vehicles.
Experience the joy of buying a brand new Hyundai without breaking the bank. Yes, buying a brand new car should never leave you broke. From stylish designs and safety features to comfortable driving and reliability, Hyundai is the choice. Hyundai vehicles come standard with 2 years free service and 5 years warranty and roadside assistance for your peace of mind. Drive 2 years without service cost and 5 years without fear of being stranded. Hyundai. Conditions apply.
The Nationwide Blue Dot Polls, powered by Total Tools. Total Tools, they almost always have it.
Good afternoon. It's 25 minutes going up to 6 o'clock. This is Nationwide at 5. And as you heard there, it's all about the Nationwide Blue Dot Polls, powered by Total Tools. We're well now in giving you the results. Good afternoon, Ricardo Brooks.
Good afternoon, Cliff Hughes. Good afternoon to our listeners.
You have been tracking these results. And today, the job approval rating of the Prime Minister, we are reporting, based on the findings, has hit its highest mark in more than 2 years. 43% of Jamaicans now believe Holness has been doing a good job as Prime Minister. It's the highest figure recorded since late 2022. Here are the details with Ricardo.
The Blue Dot pollsters asked 1,618 registered voters between May 2 and 17 to rate the performance of Andrew Holness after 9 years as Prime Minister. They were asked to rate him on a scale of 0 to 10, with 0 being extremely poor and 10 exceptional. 43% of respondents say Holness has been doing a good job. They rated him between 7 and 10. 35% say Holness has been average at his job. They gave him a rating of between 4 and 6. 22% say the Prime Minister has been poor at the job. Those respondents rate him between 0 and 3. It should be noted that Holness's positive job approval rating has rebounded by 11 points from the low of 32% recorded in 2023. Holness is also enjoying consensus across genders, with 43% of both men and women rating his job performance as good. That's up 3 points for men compared to 3 months ago. There's also been a marginal decline in the men and women who say Holness has been average or poor at his job. The decline is just outside the poll's margin of error of plus or minus 2.3%. When age is considered, it's the middle-aged and older voters who are giving Holness his best job approval ratings. Nearly 50% of voters 55 to 64 years old say Holness has been doing a good job. 25% of that age group disagrees. They say he has been a poor Prime Minister. It's a similar story with voters 45 to 54 years old. 24% of them say Holness has been poor at the job, while 46% of them say he has been good. Interestingly, voters 18 to 24 years old were most likely to rate Holness's job performance as average, with 44% of them saying the man they call Brogard has been an average prime minister. 18% of them say he has been poor at it. The time for choosing draws nigh. Jamaicans across the country are no doubt asking themselves the question, has Holness been good, average, or poor as prime minister? They'll soon get to render a formal verdict. It won't be long now. Bye I put on, and a not na go, a sit na come. We'll see. Ricardo Brooks for Nationwide News.
Where did you get that from?
Good afternoon, Grandma.
Okay, Grandma. Wait, mean. I see some of the youngsters in the newsroom asking, wait, mean.
It's just something I come. You know, if you stress yourself, just get a pair of eyes and have it ready, because it's sure for come and you're going to see it.
Oh.
So you buy the eye and put it down.
By the eye.
Mm-hmm, and put it down. Because it come and you're going to see it. And you need a fresh pair of eyes to see it.
Oh.
Yeah, so she tell me.
All right. Continuing, Mr. Brooks.
We also have the breakdown per parish. So voters in St. Elizabeth and Hanover have given the Prime Minister his highest job approval rating across all 14 parishes. But there's trouble for the JLP in St. Mary. That's the parish where 38% of voters say Holness has been poor at his job. And now that's the highest poor rating he receives in any of the parishes. His net positive approval rating in 11 of the... He enjoys a net positive approval rating in 11 of the 13 parishes, Kingston and St. Andrew, of course, being grouped as 1.
In Trelawney, his net positive rating is 0, as 29% rate him good and poor. For reactions to the findings, we're turning to Associate Professor of Political Science and Public Policy at Elon University in the United States, Dr. Damien Blake, a Jamaican, yes, former host here at Nationwide before he became professor. Assistant Lecturer in Public Policy at the UWI Mona campus, Damien Gordon. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
Good. Are you there, Professor Blake? No, we're not hearing Professor Blake. All right, so we're trying to get Professor Blake on. But Damien Gordon, let's begin with you. What are your impressions when you hear these numbers in terms of the rating and approval rating of the Prime Minister?
Yes, so I think it's important for us to offer more nuanced analysis of the findings. Instead of just simply acquiescing to one narrative. So I look at the findings in two ways. First, it is important for us to situate what this poll finding means in terms of the global benchmark, in terms of the global standard for analyzing favorability ratings. So based on global standards, favorability rating lower than 40% is considered to be low. A favorability rating between 40 and 49% is considered to be low to moderate. 50% to 60 is generally considered to be high, and over 60 is considered to be very high. So when you have a favorability ratings as an incumbent that is between 40 to 49%, it doesn't mean that all is lost, but it is considered to be a sign of vulnerability. So based on the international measures, the Prime Minister is still within what is considered to be the danger zone or the red zone. In the context of in the Caribbean in particular, based on analysis of previous elections and how incumbents fared in previous elections, what is considered to be a high favorability rating in the context of the Caribbean is a favorability rating of 55% and over. So that is one way of looking at the data. So while the Jamaica Labour Party, the Prime Minister, can take comfort in the fact that he has gained some momentum, he's still not out of the danger zone in terms of what we consider to be a safe favorability rating for an incumbent leader. But obviously, the Prime Minister still continues. So we have to look at the other dimension, the other narrative. Mm-hmm. Clearly, the Prime Minister still continues to enjoy goodwill. It is clear that a large number of Jamaicans feel positively about how the Prime Minister has governed the country. And this may be a reflection of the trends which are indicating that the country has made gains in terms of, you know, the macroeconomic situation, the management of our debt, the evolution of our security landscape. Obviously, we have seen dramatic reduction in murders, which is considered to be the most important indicator of security for average Jamaicans. We've seen recent data indicating that poverty is at historically low levels, unemployment as well. And obviously the Prime Minister can claim bragging rights about these things, and you know, these are obviously signs that would make some Jamaicans feel confident about the governance of the country. But it is clear that a large number of Jamaicans are still uncertain or have a negative view of the performance of the government. And this is reflected in the fact that a higher percentage still think that the country is not headed in the right direction. So a lot of Jamaicans are still on the fence. They're either ambivalent or they either have a negative perception of the government, which tells us that somewhere there is still some disconnect. And it is this disconnect that the Prime Minister and the government has to address. Because if you can recall, leading into the last local government election, the Prime Minister's favorability was relatively high. It was about 42 or thereabout. And
it was actually 36%.
36. All right. So it was marginally low, but the Jamaica Labour Party still underperformed in that election, which tells us that the high favorability or a moderate favorability rated for the Prime Minister does not automatically translate into or correlate to the party or likely or correlate to the party winning an election, because voters consider broader factors when making voting decisions beyond the fact that the Prime Minister's favorability. So those are just things to think about in terms of analyzing.
Thank you, Damien. We're going to go to the break now, and after the break, we'll be joined by Professor Blake.
Clear your barrels and personal shipments with ease and convenience. Request customs contactless clearance today through CCP at jca.gov.jm. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
15 minutes to 6.
Burn Shack fried chicken always ready. Burn Shack, original crispy. Burn Shack, Cajun spicy. Burn Shack, a barbecue. Burn Shack, we are go a Burn Shack.
The temperature brought to you by Bird Shack Fried Chicken in Kingston, Montego Bay and Ochivios is
30 degrees Celsius here in Kingston. It's cooler at 26 out west in Montego Bay.
What makes a burrito bun so attractive?
We have a history of strong financial performance and growth, demonstrating resilience.
Our leverage remains low relative to our peers.
The bond is available in both Jamaican and US dollars, ranging from tenures between 2 to 10 years at attractive interest rates. Plus, it's expected to be listed, which will enhance liquidity for all investors.
Burrito bonds are burrito strong. Download our prospectus, call a burrito advisor, and invest today.
Enough power tool, big to small. Jack on my figure, dig the wall.
Our Total Tools.
Beat back a figure, trim the lawn. We have everything, you job them on.
Total Tools.
We rent them, sell them, and fix them. Also give Total Tools a call. When I say home improvement, landscape construction, or Total Tools are your option. Home improvement, landscape construction, Total Tools are your option. Total Tools, located at 102 Main Street, Ocho Rios, 34 Slive Road, Kingston. And lot C6 Jacksaw, St. Anne's Bay. Call us today.
13 minutes going up to 6 o'clock. We're looking at the latest edition of the nationwide Blue Dot polls. This evening, we focus on the Prime Minister's positive or negative job approval ratings. We are turning to Assistant Lecturer at the University of the West Indies, Damien Gordon. We heard from Mr. Gordon, and now we're going to be joined by Associate Professor at Political Science and Public Policy at Elon University, Dr. Damien Blake. Dr. Blake?
Good evening, Chris. Good evening, Ricardo. Can you hear me?
Yes, hearing you clearly. Good evening. Your initial reaction to the findings?
Well, I think the findings are quite interesting, and if you are in the JLP camp, then you will be very happy on the heels of the elections. You know, politics is about delivering political goods, and based on the poll findings, it seems that what the electorate is saying is that they have a sense that Holness and his administration has been delivering key political goods. Of course, your other guest, Damon Gordon, I believe, talked about the improvements in the economic delivery. So there's economic stability in the country. There's infrastructural development. Everywhere you look, you're seeing these things happening. And of course, the big elephant in the room, or one-time elephant in the room, right? And the once political Achilles heel, no longer security. The government has made some serious inroads into security with the reductions in homicides. So Holness, in my view, has been delivering the political goods, and the polls have been picking that up, right? And people have a sense of hope, it seems, that he will continue to hone in on these very important areas around economic stability, around infrastructural development. You talk about what's happening in the Morant Bay Urban Center, for example. And of course, the big one, the big ticket item, which is security. So what the polls indicate to me is a sense of that reassessment among some of the electorate. There you can see some reassessment happening, where his numbers have fallen, his poll ratings from 57 to now 50. To me, that indicates reassessment. Okay, who is this guy? And should I take a closer look at him? And in other ways, it is also indicating that people are actually quite happy with what is happening. And, I'll end my early point here by saying it's difficult, Cliff and Ricardo, for a incumbent, much more a third time incumbent to have these kinds of numbers. And so I think that is, in my view, it is impressive. And if I were in the JLP camp, I would be happy tonight.
Go ahead. Damon Gordon, that point that Professor Blake makes about the fact that this is going to be Holness's third time seeking a mandate, and therefore the numbers, as you point out, these are traditionally considered weak or mediocre numbers, but then put in context of seeking a third term, do you agree that these should give the JLP some comfort?
Oh, definitely. As I indicated earlier, look, my moderate favorability rating indicates vulnerability, but it doesn't mean that all hope is lost. It means that you're still viable, and there's still a strong possibility that you will be re-elected. So after 2 terms, into a third term, the Prime Minister enjoys a favorability rating of 42%, which is relatively high considering the apathy that exists among the voters, considering the fact that incumbents generally tend to become less popular the longer they stay in office. Many incumbents, even their second term, their favorability rating dips below 40%, and that has been the case in the United States of America. So obviously, in the context where our political culture is one that assesses the leaders of parties, and the Prime Minister's favorability rating is still higher, and this may drive support for the Jamaica Labour Party. But it indicates that people don't feel so badly. People don't have strong negative views about the direction of the country. And given the context that the voter turnout is likely to be low, 42% may be considered to be good in the context of a low voter turnout environment. Mm-hmm. So obviously, the Jamaica Labour Party should be happy about the results, but again, we also have to consider the other side of the equation. What is the other data saying? And the other data points to ambivalence, and it points to negative sentiments, which means that there are still lingering concerns in the minds of voters. So while voters may feel that the Prime Minister is delivering the political goods, in some areas they may have other concerns, which may not necessarily be economic concerns. They may be concerns of another nature. It could be linked to corruption. It could link to the perception of government ethics. It could be linked to, concerns about their experiences interacting with government agencies, the healthcare system. These are sentiments. And what I also realize is that voters are considering the micro level issues as opposed to the macroeconomic issues. They are more concerned about their experiences rather than the official data released by government. They're looking at their own lives. They're looking at their own experiences. So they're assessing government performance from a more individualized or a more localized perspective. And that is why I made the point that even though the Prime Minister may be popular, we have to determine if the MPs are just as popular as the Prime Minister across the country. That is something to be considered, right?
And of course, Professor Blake, I want you to weigh in on this. A 43% rating as good versus 22% poor. But I found 35% average. We can't ignore that. How should we interpret that?
Certainly,
35%.
Certainly, we can't ignore it at all, Cliff. And I think Professor Gordon has kind of touched something there for us. The way I view that 35% and the 22% is that there are some levels of continued apathy, but there's also levels of reassessment because you're seeing the numbers trickle down, right? For example, is poor ratings among PNP and also people who PNP has moved from 57 to 50%. That indicates a kind of reassessment among the electorate going in. So yes, certainly these numbers are good from a JLP perspective, but if we were to look at them from a more nuanced, hard political science viewpoint, these are moderate numbers, yes? These are numbers that will indicate that things are moving in the right direction, but certainly JLP should not count their eggs before they are hatched, and that there certainly is work to be done, because those numbers indicate that people are either A, apathetic, or B, just have made up their minds that they, no matter what Holness does or the JLP does, they are not going with them, or C, which I think is the category that the JLP would want to keep looking at, is that people are reassessing. They are reassessing, they are re-evaluating, and they're saying, let me give this gentleman and his administration a closer look. Right. I am seeing things happening in front of my eyes, and it looks like there is some hope for the future.
And then we haven't got the numbers yet for the opposition leader. We will tell you those numbers tomorrow. We are anticipating them any minute now. That will also be a factor in terms of the decision making of the public.
Right, but I think Damon Gordon said something interesting, Professor Blake, and I want you to respond to it. This argument of the electorate may not be responding to government communication in the modern era, in terms of how political parties or governments communicate in a splintered communication environment. How do you think the government should be thinking about pushing the message, as you say, as voters are reevaluating?
Well, certainly the government has to, move at the macro level, so doing the broader kinds of campaigns and using the agencies of government communication tools. But as we know, all politics is local, and you have to hit the ground. You have to get into the nooks and crannies, get into the bars, and go to the 9 nights and all of these areas, and communicate the message to people there about what you are doing. And one of the numbers that came up in the polls, and I don't quite know how to explain them, is some of the low levels in some areas like St. Mary and Clarendon. It'll be interesting for us to understand what are the local dynamics there, why Holness's broader national coattail isn't kind of sweeping in this wave of optimism there in those kinds of parishes. And I think Gordon touches on something very important as well, that this kind of favorability bump for Holness should not be a signal for the JLP writ large to get lazy, that MPs have to go out there and do the work. Let's not forget, we don't have a presidential system, right? And that, MPs have to do the work. So yeah, I think on the communication side, that every MP, every councillor for both sides, but particularly in this case, you're asking about the JLP, that they will have to bring home the message that, look, this is what is we have in store for you going forward in terms of the economy, in terms of the infrastructure. I saw today you guys were on the road talking about water systems there. They need more of that going into the elections.
I should point out to you and the listeners that right across the 14 parishes, except for St. Mary, he's in positive territory. St. Mary and Trelawney. He's underwater in St. Mary, with 38% rated him as poor versus 35%. In Trelawney, it's 29% who've rated him both poor and good. But everywhere else across the country, he's above water. 21% overall, net positive 25 in Clarendon, 31 in Hanover, Kingston and St. Andrew 20, 10 in Manchester, plus 18 in Portland, 10 in St. Anne, 27 in St. Catherine, 25% in St. Elizabeth, 30% in St. James, St. Thomas, plus 23%, and Westmoreland, plus 26,
But something is wrong
in St. Mary.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. We're out of time, and we'd love to bring you back tomorrow. So when we can reveal, or we will reveal, the ratings of the opposition leader. All right? Thank you.
All right, certainly. Have a good evening.
Good. That's how we're going to leave it for the cover story. The headlines are next.
Cover Story was brought to you by Hyundai. Modern, premium, affordable vehicles.
Tune in to Cliff Hughes Online from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. as we broadcast from the Ministry of Agriculture's Investment Forum, Thursday, May 29th, 2025, at the Jamaica Conference Center. The Investment Forum is one of the many events during National Minerals Week 2025. The Investment Forum, with keynote speaker Honorable Floyd Green, focuses on investment incentives and sustainability. We will broadcast live from the event, giving listeners island-wide front row access to Jamaica's mineral future. Don't miss us as we unearth the possibilities. So tune in to Cliff Hughes Online, Thursday, May 29th. It's the Ministry of Agriculture's Investment Forum at the Jamaica Conference Center. Catch the live stream on our YouTube channel at Nationwide 90 FM Live too. All this and more only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining.
The time brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure, live easy is
6:01.
Nationwide headlines at 6.
Good evening with the headlines at 6. I'm Norgay Banton. The job approval rating of Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness has hit its highest mark in more than 2 years. That's according to the latest nationwide Blue Dot poll powered by Total Tools. 4% of Jamaicans now believe Dr. Holness has been doing a good job as Prime Minister. It's the highest figure recorded since late 2022. The Blue Dot pollsters asked 1,618 registered voters between May 2 and 17 to rate the performance of Andrew Holness after 9 years as Prime Minister. They were asked to rate him on a scale of 0 to 10, with 0 being extremely poor and 10 exceptional. 43% of respondents say Holness has been doing a good job. They rated him between 7 and 10. 35% say Holness has been average at his job. They give him a rating of between 4 and 6. 22% say the Prime Minister has been poor at his job. Those respondents rate him between 0 and 3. It should be noted that Holness's positive job approval rating has rebounded by 11 points from the low of 32% recorded in 2023. Holness is also enjoying consensus across genders, with 43% of both men and women rating his job performance as good. That's up 3 points for men compared to 3 months ago. And Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness has reacted to the latest nationwide Blue Dot polls. Speaking at a groundbreaking ceremony for the Ferry Pond pipeline on Tuesday, Dr. Holness asked voters to carefully reflect on which leaders have been open and honest with the Jamaican people.
I don't usually speak about polls, but there's an interesting poll about trust. And as I reflected, Peter Phillips made his goodbye presentation in Parliament, and he said, "You are the politician who went down to Mandeville and tell the people about bitter medicine." It's a funny thing, because having myself and Peter Phillips would have been the two who would have had the greatest experience in dealing with the IMF in that critical time. And when I went up and met with the IMF, I was under no illusion as to what was necessary. Some people came and said they will get an IMF deal in 2 weeks and they will be able to take GCT off electricity. Of course, none of that could happen. He himself came back and said when he met with them, it was sobering. So if you're talking about trust, who is telling you the truth? Who is not sugarcoating and hiding?
And that should have been the groundbreaking for the Ferry to Rock Pond pipeline project. According to the nationwide Blue Dot polls powered by Total Tools, public trust in the Andrew Holness-led administration has reached its highest mark in 2 years. When asked if they trusted or distrusted the Holness government, 46% of those polled say they trusted them. The 46% expressing trust is the highest level recorded in the Blue Dot polls since 2023. At the same time, distrust in the administration fell from a high of 57% 2 years ago to 43% in the polls. Dr. Holness is urging Jamaicans to examine the track record of delivery as they make up their minds during the election season.
Let's start from 2002 to now. And you will see that these projects that we are breaking ground for today are not new projects. They were on the books, many of them, for a long time. Did it start? Was it procured? Was it because they didn't have the intention? Was it because they didn't care? Was it because they're just lackadaisical? No, they didn't have the money. We are in the promising season. We are in the season where you're going to be exposed to good intentions all around. It doesn't matter what you are promised. You have to look at the track record of delivery, number one. And number two, does the promiser, does he have the wherewithal to deliver?
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. Disgraceful and shameful. That's how Minister of Agriculture Floyd Green characterized the tenure of the previous PNP administration's management of the portfolio. The minister delivered a scathing critique during his sectoral debate presentation on Tuesday, comparing it to what he sees as the significant progress made under the Holness administration. The minister says the opposition PNP has served nothing but disrespect to the nation's farmers. He cited the unprecedented lack of a sitting member of parliament currently shadowing the agriculture portfolio.
I am now convinced that the present opposition has no regard for agriculture and fisheries. In fact, Madam Speaker, the approach that they have taken is quite disrespectful to the hard-working farmers and fishers of Jamaica. This is not the Roger Clark or Michael Manley opposition. This opposition seems foreign. They have not even found it appropriate to have a sitting member of the House shadow agriculture. I have searched our history and I am yet to find a time in Jamaica before this one that no one on the opposition benches is specifically tasked to deal with agriculture. It is a shame.
Currently, the portfolio of agriculture is shadowed by the PNP's Dr. Dayton Campbell, who does not sit in either houses of Parliament. To further hammer his point home, Minister Green says not a single question in relation to agriculture has been asked during the Standing Finance Committee 2 years running.
To add insult to injury, this year they asked the spokesperson on energy, a man who represents East Kingston and Port Royal, to speak on behalf of our farmers. What he delivered, members, can only be described as a ChatGPT dissertation around the common problems in agriculture and fisheries. It was disgraceful.
Floyd Green, Minister of Agriculture. PNP caretaker for Central Kingston, Steve McGregor, has declined to speak on the record about the alleged assault by his supporters of former caretaker Lawrence Rowe. The incident reportedly took place on Monday night when Rowe attempted to record a video of McGregor's supporters as they engaged in what he claims was an act of vandalism. According to Rowe, he was forced to arm himself with a knife when hours after the original dispute had been settled, a man claiming to be one of Mr. McGregor's supporters attacked him and grabbed his shirt. Mr. McGregor says Rowe should reach out to the police regarding the incident. He says he does not have much information regarding the matter, so he does not want to speak on it. Rowe has filed a report with the Ormond Town Police.
Later on in the evening, around 9 p.m., the gentleman who threatened me came inside the yard that I was playing dominoes and reiterated his threats. When I turned around, I saw a JDF officer at the gate holding his waist. When I attempted to run off, my attacker grabbed me by my shirt and tore it. But I managed to grab a knife from my neighbor's yard and people started to intervene. I then went to the Ormond Town Police Station to make a report and give a statement. I have also informed the UIC party of the incident and sent them video clippings and recordings of what transpired from in the day to the evening hours.
Lawrence Rowe, former PNP caretaker for Central Kingston. And lawyers for JLP Deputy Leader Desmond McKenzie have filed a defamation suit against PNP caretaker for Northwest St. Catherine, Senator Damian Crawford. The lawsuit relates to comments made by Crawford at a PNP meeting on March 2 this year. Crawford, who is a former PNP vice president, raised the possibility of theft at the Equalization Fund and made comments about Mr. McKenzie. During the same presentation, Crawford also made comments about Mr. McKenzie's character and cast aspersions about Mr. McKenzie's level of truthfulness. The legal team for McKenzie filed proceedings against Crawford in the Supreme Court in downtown Kingston today. They are seeking aggravated and exemplary damages, costs and interest pursuant to the Law Reform Miscellaneous Provisions Act. Mr. McKenzie is the Member of Parliament for West Kingston and the country's local government minister. One of his attorneys, Lemar Neal, noted in the court documents that the minister's exemplary record of service to Jamaica has been brought into disrepute by Crawford's allegations. Senator Crawford had responded in March to Mr. McKenzie's letter of demand a few weeks ago by posting on social media an image of King's Counsel Ransford Braham and stated, quote, "That KC on my uncle's name does not mean Kingston College, Brother Desmond," end quote. Those were the headlines at 6. I'm Nora Gay. Banton Sport is next.
Stop buying expensive toner cartridges. Global Ink is now selling new factory direct generic toners. Remove factory seals, install and print. Engineered to work first time, every time. Certified for use in HP and Brother printers. Worry-free, affordable printing for your peace of mind. Money saved is money earned. We deliver island-wide. 754-7444 or 1-888-NEED-INK. Never run out of toner again. Global Ink.
KFC is back with the crispy barbecue zinger. So delicious, this one is a winner. Spicy with bacon, onions, cheddar, and the smoky barbecue sauce.
The crispy barbecue zinger from KFC is back. A delicious spicy zinger with bacon, cheddar cheese, crispy onions, and smoky barbecue sauce. Available for a limited time. The craving that makes everything crunch. KFC's crispy barbecue zinger. It's finger licking good.
The crispy barbecue zinger from KFC with the smoky barbecue sauce.
Make a toast to your future. The JTA Cooperative Credit Union is by your side. All educators, the best is what you deserve.
We'll keep your dreams alive.
Competitive loans to help you grow.
We'll take you higher.
Great returns on your savings.
Yeah.
A bright future is in the making.
Build the best you with the best credit union. We are committed to serving you.
JTA Cooperative Credit Union, serving our members, impacting lives positively.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. West Indies A, well, they made 253 for 9 in their 50 overs against South Africa A in the final game of their 3-match one-day international series at the Darren Sammy Stadium in St. Lucia. Shakir Paris fell 4 runs short of a century. He went for 96 after slamming 10 fours and 2 sixes. Jamaica's Javel Glenn weighed in with 52 and the Giant goalie 30. Carrie Pear made 26. Gilon Tyson retired hurt. West Indies A are due to start the reply in a short time from now. The Tourists lead the series 1-0 after winning Game 1 by 42 runs. Game 2 ended in a no result. The West Indies will now turn their attention to the 3-match T20 International Series against Ireland next month. After ODI series ended 1-1, the first game is set for Maggie Ramanson on June 12. Coach Darren Sammy says he's expecting the team's good form with bat and ball to continue in this format.
When you make an investment, you don't expect so much high returns so quickly. And Casey has defied the odds, and long may that continue. And I know it will continue because of the work he puts in. And so are all the guys in different roles. Some are developing faster than others, but it's on the upward. And that batting has been really good for us over the last year. Now it's for us to do that away from home. We struggled to do it away from home. You talk about the Sri Lankan series, the Australia series, but now we saw what we did in Ireland. Barring that first 10 overs in the first game, the batting has been solid. So it's good when you have competition for places coming from performance. We look forward to another good batting display, but so too our bowling, especially with Jaden Sills with that new ball, is also improving.
Darren Sammy. South Africa's brilliant young sprint star Bayanda Walaza will be in Kingston for the 7th staging of the Racers Grand Prix at the National Stadium Saturday, June 7. Walaza will be one of 4 sprinters from South Africa added to the lineup, along with Sensinifo Dembele, Gift Liot Liela and Naheem Jack. Walaza, the reigning World Under-20 Sprint double champ and lead-off runner on the South Africa Sprint Relay team that won at the World Relays a few weeks ago in a world-leading time, will contest the 100 meters with Liot Lela. Walaza has the Junior World 100 meters record in his sight after clocking 9.94 seconds to win the 100 meters in Zagreb this past weekend. He says it's great to be great to get the 100 meters Junior World record in Kingston, where he's always dreamed of running. Meanwhile, the World 200 meters champion Shericka Jackson and the Olympic sprint hurdles bronze medalist Rashid Broadbell have also been added to the list of stars down for the meet. Jackson, who won the 100 meters at the Morocco Diamond League on Sunday, will contest her pet event, the 200 meters, while Broadbell will look to add to his victory at the Doha Diamond League meeting on Friday, May 16. Tickets for the Racers Grand Prix will go on sale next Monday. Jamaica's national senior men's football team beat Caribbean rivals Trinidad and Tobago 3-2 at the GTEC Stadium in London on Tuesday to advance to Saturday's final of the 4-team Unity Cup tournament.
Tracy Palmer is the one that is going to step up and take it, and scores coolly with a Panenka penalty from Palmer to score his first goal in Jamaican colours. Towards Palmer, and again, and he does get his shot away, and there's the improvised finish to make it 2. And it's a debut goal for Roman Barao. Trinidad and Tobago try and respond straight away, and they do! Here he comes then, Cardines. Brilliant effort, so unlucky but in, and Trinidad and Tobago are back on terms. Kevin Molino following up to score. 2-2, powerful penalty. King finds the top corner, and Jamaica surely have won it after all.
And the national team coach, Steve McLaren, says the players should have put the game to bed from the first half.
It was always going to be a difficult game for the full 90 minutes because one day's preparation was not ideal. People flying over, jet-lagged. Most of the players not playing for 3 weeks. And so they've done remarkably well to come away with a victory. Delighted with the first half. I thought we were excellent. Really should have been a few more than just the one we got. And then we got the second and relaxed a little bit. And then we thought we were just planning for penalties, and thank God we got a penalty just for one. And Richard King smashed it away perfectly.
McLaren says he hoped that the players put a smile on the faces of the fans.
From the beginning, when we stepped out on the field before the warm-up, during the warm-up and during the game, even when it went to 2-2, they were always behind the team. And the key was obviously winning this game, but was also in a performance to make the supporters proud and with a smile when they leave the stadium. And that's what the players have done.
Jamaica's national senior football team coach Steve McLaren and Jamaica will play in Saturday's final against the winners of the matchup between Nigeria and Ghana on Wednesday, also at the GTEC Stadium in London. The losers will take on Trinidad and Tobago in the third place playoff. Lamine Yamal has signed a new 6-year Barcelona contract following a breakout season in which he helped the Catalan club win a domestic treble. The 17-year-old Spanish winger's existing deal was set to expire at the end of the 2025-26 season, but his new contract keeps him with Barcelona until 2031. Yamal, who made his Barcelona debut at 15 years old in 2023, scored 18 goals and made 25 assists in 55 appearances as Barcelona won La Liga, the Copa del Rey and the Spanish Super Cup in Hansi Flick's first season as manager. The Catalan club said Yamal signed the new contract on Tuesday in the presence of club president Joan Laporta and the sporting director Deco. That's sports.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612 to 5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
6:19.
At Kia, driving your future means joining the movement that inspires. Whether it's the small but mighty Picanto hatchback or the top-of-the-line tech-rich Sorento SUV, there's a Kia that perfectly fits your lifestyle and your budget. ATL Automotive has gotten Jamaicans behind the wheels of thousands of Kias for the past 7 years. And we're ready to get you behind the wheel of a Kia too. Simply visit the nearest Kia showroom for a test drive now.
You're a VIP with CIBC Caribbean. Spend US $100 or local equivalent with your CIBC Visa credit card for your chance to win a crop over VIP experience in Barbados. An all expense paid trip for two, staying at the Courtyard by Marriott Hotel, cultural tours, and Aura experience with full glam makeup plus tickets to the hottest last lap events. Visit CIBC Caribbean /crop over 2025 for more info. Conditions apply.
Want to reduce your high electricity bills? Then Peak Energy has the solution for you. From grid-tied to hybrid solar inverters with full lithium-ion battery pack. Installation and maintenance packages available. Visit us at Shop 1, 3 Mosquito Valley Road, Red Hill, St. Andrew. Call 876-279-8820 or 944-0668. Or email us at peakenergysolutionsja@gmail.com. Peak Energy for everything solar.
Do you have a consumer-related issue? Want to learn more about matters concerning you as a consumer? Well, keep it locked to Nationwide 90 FM for the Consumer Hour with me, Nora Gay Banton. Weekdays from 9 to 10 a.m. For all your consumer-centric matters, stay tuned to the Consumer Hour on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
Football fans, it's the clash to determine Europe's king. When Inter Milan battles PSG in the final of the UEFA Champions League, live on the big screen at Carib 5. Join us on Saturday, May 31 at 2 p.m. for the ultimate match day experience. Brought to you by the Amber Group, Nationwide News Network, and Palace Amusement.
Dumfries, first time!
Big goals, big screens, and big vibes. Tickets are $500 for general admission and $800 for box seats. Limited tickets available, so grab yours today at the Carib 5 box office or online at palaceamusements.com. Feel the thrill of the Champions League final, just like you're in the stadium.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Good evening, and welcome to Public Opinion. I'm Roby Ann Williams. A special good evening to our friends over on our YouTube platform. Thank you so much for tuning in. We invite you to weigh in live in the comment section on today's Public Opinion. And I must tell you that there are over 100 comments on our social media posts. So let me apologize from now because I cannot go through all of that. Over 100 on Facebook, over 100 on Instagram, and I'm yet to see X. But let's get into it. A plurality of Jamaicans, 47%, appear to have settled in their minds that they trust Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. That's according to the latest nationwide Blue Dot polls powered by Total Tools. That 47% slice of the population has held steady across 3 polling cycles, stretching back to September last year. At that time, more than half of Jamaicans said they did not trust Andrew Holness. That's September 2023. But since last year's edition of these polls, distrust in Holness has been receding. It now stands at 42%. 11% of respondents were unsure. The pollsters say this suggests perceptions of Holness and his leadership are now entrenched in the population. I must tell you that the Blue Dot polls, brought to you by Total Tools, it was conducted between May 2 and 17 among 1,618 registered voters with a margin of error of 2.3%. Now, with that said, we're putting the question to you for our public opinion question this evening. We're asking, on a scale of 1 to 5, how much do you trust Dr. Andrew Holness as Prime Minister? That's the public opinion question. I'm starting with the comments on our X platform, where Graham Jervis is saying 5 out of 5. Andre Lawrence also saying 5 out of 5. Do Your Civic Duty says 0. And also declaring, and I'm not a comrade. Yeah? Javon Ramdin is saying, I give the PM full credit. With poverty down, crime reduced, and unemployment at its lowest, I still remember the excellent management of COVID. I truly trust this administration and would love to see them get another term in office. Tai Gut, being realistic, incorporating the pandemic, the weather events that happened recently, his first term fixing and putting things in place, and now the benefits started blooming somewhat. He's not perfect, but 4 is a great score. More could be achieved, says Tai Gut. Dalton is saying 5 out of 5, giving Dr. Andrew Holness a 5 out of 5 as Prime Minister. William says only 4. Shelley says 5. Let me see. Damian Smith says he is the best Prime Minister. 4 out of 5 coming from No Slick Ting. 5 out of 5 coming from Sandra James. All right, let me see if I can get to some of the comments on our Facebook platform. To the question, on a scale of 1 to 5, how much do you trust Dr. Andrew Holness as Prime Minister? Right away, Dennis Ford saying, I was never a supporter of any political party. I support what's best for the country. The current administration is doing an excellent job in all aspects, so I'll give them a straight 10. That rookie scale, because it's a 5 out of 5, but you give 10. All right, CJ is saying 5 is too low, so I give him a 10. Rookie scale again. Ian Hemming says 10 out of 10. Philip Harrison is questioning, wonder how much a uno I go vote election day. Easy for sit down pan chair and chat. Talk truth. Carlington Bartley is saying, I am now sleeping with my windows and doors open. My trust level is at an all-time high. Wow. Salome Paul, never in Jamaica's history have we seen Prime Minister done so much for this country and people. Without any doubt, it's a 5 for me. Bever Baker is saying a man like Andrew deserved 10. Christine Reed, I give him 100%. Donovan Smith. Okay, Donovan is saying, while I trust politicians, for me, don't go... Okay, he's saying trust and politicians, for me, don't go hand in hand. I have confidence that he has the best interest of the country and is using the system available to bring prosperity to everyone as much as possible in different ways. So I'll give him a 10 for economic management. I generally don't trust politicians. All right, Jennifer saying straight 10. Anthony Shake saying 10. Although the question asked 1 out of 5. Davis is saying I give the Prime Minister 10. George Elliott, 10, despite the PNP's desperate efforts to demonize him. Ingrid also saying, Andrew get 47% from Uda. Okay, you're asking, who? Okay. Yes, I trust him, says Jennifer Sutton. Let me see if there are any comments on or TikTok. Rupert is saying he is the best Jamaican ever seen. I'm not in JA, but I give him 10 out of 10. Flying King says he's making Jamaica great again. Massive Beat Sound says 0%. Flying King have whole heap of 5. Yeah? Let me see if I can get in some more of these comments. Dwight saying 5 for me. All right, on our Instagram platform, come in, I want to leave out no platform and nobody come at me. On a scale of 1 to 5, how much do you trust Dr. Andrew Holness as Prime Minister? Lady RJ is saying, I trust his vision for the future of Jamaica and that he will not make rash decisions. He is disciplined, physically and emotionally fit for the task at hand. He can be stubborn at times, but we are all flawed. All right. Let me see. Lisa is saying his work speaks for itself and he's doing what it takes to develop Jamaica, giving him a 5 without a doubt. A solid 5 for me, says Naika. 1 out of 5 says I am Tav. His statutory declarations cannot be certified. Let me see. In my opinion, G Money is saying he's doing a great job for the country. Audit Travel is saying, I don't trust any politician. Yeah? Let me see. Burge is saying the Prime Minister said he would take a serious stance against corruption. He has not done that. A solid 5 coming from Sit Down. All right. 6 coming from Bad Fountain. Willie Ryan Wilson saying to us, to be fair, I would give him a 3. He's a great leader and one who has the potential to be better. I just don't appreciate certain features of his leadership. A 5 coming from Tay. 5 coming from Opal. -0 coming from One Leprodon. All right, let me see if I can get over to our YouTubers to the question on a scale of 1 to 5. How much do you trust Dr. Andrew Holness as Prime Minister? I see 5 out of 5, or 5.5 rather, coming from Mystical Vibrations. Let me see if I can get in a few more. Lisa Hall says 5. Bridge Mar saying 5 out of 5. All right. Steve Barnes says election in Jamaica will be held mid-September. As it relates to Prime Minister, constitutional rights, I don't think he is going to let them push him, nor will he pretend afraid of. Okay, Stephen, it seems as though you're referring to something else. Anthony Palmer says 100%. Yeah. How do you rate the Prime Minister or Andrew Holness as Prime Minister? Anthony Palmer asks if he can say 200%. Carol Alexander, 5. Patricia, 5. Let me see if I can get in some more. 4.5. A lot of comments coming in. I'm seeing 5. I'm seeing 5 out of 5. King FC. 5 coming from Lorna. 100% coming from St. John. Let me see if I can get in some more on this platform or YouTubers. Oswald says 10 straight. Jacqueline Thomas. Me can't count them trillions there, Jacqueline, but big up yourself. Melbourne Smelly is saying 5 out of 5. Wow. Yeah, 0 out of 5, says Rashawn. All right, let me see if I can get in some more. A solid 5 coming from Amelia rather. Let me see. Killian Henry says, I have seen the following Prime Ministers: Edward Seaga, Michael Manley, PJ, Portia, Bruce Golding, and Andrew Holness is the best in my lifetime, says Killian. 0 saying, is this Arlene saying 0? Hatter Club saying 10. Madham 5. Sharno Blake believes we're going to have an August election. Maureen McKenzie says the country is in good hands. A 5 coming from Maureen. All right, I'm seeing a lot of 5. May I say 555. Wolipa 55. Wolipa 99. All right. Wow. Yeah. Wow. Safe to say the YouTubers believe that the YouTubers have trust in Dr. Andrew Holness as Prime Minister. Cut the Budget says Canada 100%. 100% also coming from media on TikTok. Let me see if I can get in some more. Mr. Max says no other Prime Minister can do better than Holness. 5 says Jesse J. -5 says McCall. I don't trust him. Charismatic, yes, but not honest, says Socks. All right, a lot of comments coming in. I Smoke says the scale is 1 to 5. They're voting 10. Them not too bright. All right, thank you guys for participating in Public Opinion. We do appreciate you. The Business Report is up next.
Public Opinion was brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
The time by KIG is
6:34. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Nationwide's Business Report. I'm Robianne Williams. The UK economy is forecast to grow slightly more than previously expected in 2025, but the International Monetary Fund, IMF, has warned that the Chancellor must stick to her rules on tax and spending. In its annual health check for the economy, the IMF predicted growth of 1.2% this year, rising to 1.4% in 2026. It said an economic recovery was underway after a boost in the first 3 months of the year. The forecast from the influential body comes just over a month after it downgraded its expectations for the UK from 1.6% in 2025 to 1.1%. KFC has announced plans to create 7,000 new jobs across the UK and Ireland as rival fast food chicken chains such as Wingstop threaten to take a bigger bite of the market. The fried chicken firm is investing nearly £1.5 billion over 5 years, part of which will be spent on new restaurants in key locations such as Ireland and Northwest England, where the restaurant opened its first ever British restaurant 60 years ago. Yeah, consumers in the UK and Ireland spend billions of pounds in fried chicken chains every year. I would imagine that Jamaicans do spend a lot on KFC. And finally, in the currency markets at the close of trading today, it cost 159 Jamaican dollars and 83 cents to buy $1 US, 218 Jamaican dollars and 88 cents to buy £1 British pound, and 116 Jamaican dollars and 18 cents to buy the Canadian dollar. That's the Business Report. I'm Robianne Williams. Good evening.
KFC is back with the crispy barbecue zinger. So delicious, this one is a winner. Spicy with bacon, onions, cheddar, and the smoky barbecue sauce.
The crispy barbecue zinger from KFC is back. A delicious spicy zinger with bacon, cheddar cheese, crispy onions, and smoky barbecue sauce. Available for a limited time. The craving that makes everything crunch. KFC's crispy barbecue zinger. It's finger licking good.
The crispy barbecue zinger from KFC with the smoky barbecue sauce.
Do you have a passion for road safety? Love working with children? Want to make a real impact in your rural community? The Jamaica Urban Transit Company, JUTC, is expanding its services, and we're hiring drivers for a brand new rural school bus service launching this September. If you're 25 or older, have a valid open general driver's license, at least 3 years experience, and a clean record, we want you on our team. Enjoy steady pay, meaningful work, and the chance to help students get to school safely across 13 parishes. Apply by May 30, 2025. Visit jutc.com.jm for more information. Drive the future. Drive with JUTC. Look at me now.
If it's in the public's interest, it's the nation's business during Nationwide at 5. The nation's business
Tune in to Nationwide 90 FM on Wednesday, May 28 from 2 to 5 p.m. for the live sectoral presentation by the Minister of Local Government and Community Development, the Honourable Desmond McKenzie, under the theme Active and Strong, Sincere in Service because we choose Jamaica. The Honourable Desmond McKenzie will spotlight local government initiatives, plans for this fiscal year, and provide other updates. Hear how the Ministry remains committed to empowering communities, guided by sound policies, legal and technical frameworks. So tune in to Nationwide 90 FM on Wednesday, May 28 from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. It's the live sectoral presentation by the Minister of Local Government and Community Development, the Honourable Desmond McKenzie. All this and more only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by the Ministry of Local Government and Community Development.
Who will climb Europe's football Everest? Will it be Inter Milan?
Good ball from Di Marco. Dumfries and Lautaro Martinez!
Or will it be Paris Saint-Germain?
Dembele has other ideas. What a chance! What a goal!
On Saturday, May 31, the two heavy hitters of the European game will clash at the Allianz Arena in Germany in the European Champions League final.
Artist lost that one. Here's Hakimi!
Nationwide 90 FM will be at the center of it all as we take you to Bavaria for live coverage of this Titanic showdown.
Tudor neatly controlled. Dumfries, first time! Francesco Acerbi! Acerbi the hero!
Join the Nationwide team at Carib 5 in Crossroads as we build up to the game starting at 1:30 p.m. Live coverage of the European Champions League final on Nationwide 90 FM Saturday, May 31 is brought to you courtesy of the Amber Group. The Amber Group, pioneering innovation. Any bet, your best bet. And ATL Automotive, keeping Jamaica moving. The game can also be seen live at Carib 5.
Tune in to Cliff Hughes Online from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. as we broadcast from the Ministry of Agriculture's Investment Forum, Thursday, May 29th, 2025, at the Jamaica Conference Center. The Investment Forum is one of the many events during National Minerals Week 2025. The Investment Forum, with keynote speaker Honorable Floyd Green, focuses on investment incentives and sustainability. We will broadcast live from the event, giving listeners island-wide front row access to Jamaica's mineral future. Don't miss us as we unearth the possibilities. So tune in to Cliff Hughes Online, Thursday, May 29th. It's the Ministry of Agriculture's Investment Forum at the Jamaica Conference Center. Catch the live stream on our YouTube channel at Nationwide 90 FM Live too. All this and more only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining.
Taboo topics, bulletins after dark,
riveting discussions,
celebrity news and interviews,
topics that are shunned by society,
and everything else in between. Boyatings After Dark with Kareem Boyatings, each and every Wednesday, 8 to 11 p.m. Boyatings After Dark. No topic is too taboo or hard to discuss. Come get your mind blown and your curiosity explored. Boyatings After Dark.
Tune in to Nationwide at 5 from 6 to 8 p.m. on Thursday, May 29 as we highlight the University of the West Indies, Mona's UWI Star. UWI Star is a short-term advancement and resource center specializing in short and professional courses. Learn more and build a better future at the University of the West Indies. Unlock your potential and expand your horizons with the UWI Mona's UWI Star. It offers dynamic short courses designed for flexibility, focused on your future. Whether you're upskilling for promotion, exploring a new industry, or sharpening your job-ready skills, our cutting-edge programs are your gateway to growth. Learn anytime, anywhere with courses built to fit your lifestyle and career goals. So tune in to Nationwide at 5, Thursday, May 29 from 6 to 8 p.m. Bridge the gap between education and real-world demands with the UWI Mona's UWI Star. Catch the live stream on our YouTube channel at Nationwide 90 FM Live 2. All this and more only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by the University of the West Indies. Visit www.mona.uwi.edu/short course and take your first step towards a brighter, smarter future today.
evening, good evening. It's 18 minutes going up to 7 o'clock. I'm Cliff Hughes. We're going to turn now to the continuing deliberations in the Parliament on the creation of legislation to govern elderly care in Jamaica. Today, the director of the Mona Aging and Wellness Center at the University of the West Indies, Professor Denise Eldemire-Shearer, called for a long-term care act for the country's elderly population. A long-term care act is a piece of legislation that sets a framework for how long-term care is provided, funded, and regulated within a specific jurisdiction. The Long-Term Care Act would typically outline the rights of residents in long-term care homes, defines the standards of care and services, and addresses issues like access, quality, and funding. Professor Eldemire-Shearer made the call during a sitting of the Senate committee discussing the creation of an Elderly Care and Protection Act today, Tuesday.
It is clear from most of the submissions that, and it certainly is a rights issue, that the time has come for a long-term care act. Please notice I'm not saying a nursing home act. Long-term care. Health and social services to ensure persons at risk of declining or with physical and mental capacity can maintain a level of functional ability consistent with rights and fundamental freedoms. Inherent in this is the fact that it would begin with community programs and would involve civil society. It's currently not universally available, especially in rural areas. Getting somebody to come in and to bathe somebody or to sit with them for 3 hours, hasn't Lightburn used to do it. It's amazing, as I went through this, so much of it used to be. So we could revisit that. When it's available, it's often fragmented, relying on middle-aged females as unpaid labor. And Ms. Latty brought this out in her submission. Middle-aged because these are females, often with families of their own, often midlife, menopause, hypertension, and are stressed. And they're not paid. So when they're now doing all of this, and I think all of us know of at least one family member that has just given up themselves totally to looking after a family member. So no income coming in, no nothing. And this is something we seriously need to look at. And in addition, availability often depends on what you can afford. $5,000 to $10,000 a day for a practicum nurse to come in, etc. So we need a long-term care act. Caregiving can reduce a family member's ability to earn, as I said, and it can lead to families having to manage a crisis versus supporting relationships. There's a World Bank study in which we're included that you will be, carrying on right here. The poverty line is down here. You have an illness in an older person, needs a CAT scan, etc., and the family though dips below the poverty line because most of us don't want to say we can't do something to save the family member. And so there are real issues around this. So long-term care legislation is a starting point for formulation of strategies and the map. It would provide the foundation to establish governance. So it is a legislative matter, Chair, because how you govern this has to be in place, the financing options, the workforce. It could secure provisions for those that need it and ensure care and rights of both the older person and the caregiver. We must also protect the rights of the caregiver, and it can be a driver of job creation. So there is something in here for everybody as we look at the long-term care. It will provide, or it could, a level of safe, appropriate, accessible, and affordable long-term care along the continuum. So yes, we have residential care over here, palliative care, respite care, but there's a step before to promote the maintenance of function and prevent the breakdown of the person so that they need institutional care. So it could be going in every day, twice a week, to ensure, to clean out the fridge, to throw away the old food, to do the dressings, etc. And it would cover informal family, community, and finally residential care. When I come back, I can give you the more of that. Home-based care, as I said, residential. The Nursing Home Act clearly needs revisions. Support, and it would also include the support for caregivers, including how they report abuses, whether financial or whatnot, and how older people could also report problems with the long term. I'm not crossing over into abuse.
Professor Eldemar Shearer said the country needs legislation that focuses on elder abuse. She believes the Offences Against the Persons Act is too broad.
So our thoughts on elder abuse. Legislation is clearly needed. We have, although we don't have statistics, every presentation so far to date has mentioned elder abuse. We cannot ignore it. As a country, we cannot ignore it. However, the medical dictionary defines it as harmful actions towards older people: physical abuse, sexual abuse, emotional and psychological, which we can get from other forms of abuse, the definitions such as child abuse. However, the one that we keep hearing about and which will not be covered by any medical dictionary is the financial exploitation of older people. We don't have a universal definition, but it is a reportable offense. A reportable offense to who? And we mentioned culture several times. Old people are not reporting their children. It's very simple. They're not going to the police station, I promise you. One lady said to me, because she needed chemotherapy and things, and it wasn't going right. And when we said, well, report it, she said, and the next time the next breast is affected, who? And they deny me treatment. So older people are afraid, and we have to break that down. And we have to have a system that makes them comfortable in saying, I am being abused, I need help. It's covered by the Offences Against the Person Act, which is very broad and lacks specific provisions. There are regional definitions. ECLAC has done a lot of work on this in the region, and Dr. Tyndale is the one who has been representing MAWC there. But we have no reporting and documentation system locally. To craft such legislation, and Madam Chair, you're too young, I was involved in the crafting of the child abuse legislation way back in the 80s. It was a long process. It took 4 to 5 years. There was a task force set up with pediatricians, myself representing public health, and Dennis Morrison. I remember Dennis Morrison. The then Attorney General told us we were challenging the very fundamentals of British law. Today we have a Child Abuse Act, Chair. There is no reason we cannot have an Elder Abuse Act. It is, however, going to take work and time. It would cover the definitions, the system, the protection, and I liked the suggestion this morning of safe houses. Where do you put somebody? Because I own the house, I'm reporting her who is looking after me, and I must go back to this same house with this person in it, but it's my house, remember. So there's a lot. For financial exploitation, we need to think of the protection of assets and legal guardianship. We are therefore suggesting, Madam Chair, committee members, that while pursuing that, while you all make the recommendation for somebody, the National Council, whoever, to set up the task force, we are suggesting in the interim that you look at the existing laws covering violence, etc., whether the Domestic Violence Act, the Offences Against the Person Act, and of course the Banking Act. As you go through these laws, there are many times that age is in it. I am suggesting you add now age over 60, and that we look at adding a clause while the work on the legislation is being done. And in summary, the aging of Jamaica's population requires definitive action. We've had a national council, i.e. recognition of the importance, since 1976. Madam Chair, we have a long track record internationally of addressing the issues of older people across all political boundaries and sides. So it is time to go to that final step where we have the legislation. The current provisions are helpful, but do not totally appropriately meet the needs. And existing legislation should be improved and new rights issues legislation created.
Dr. Denise Eldemar Shearer, addressing that select committee looking at law or legislation to govern the elderly population in Jamaica and how they are cared for. Professor Shearer also touched on the need for provisions which would allow the country's elderly population to retain their independence.
So the group, the United Principles, which will have to come through any legislation, is about independence, participation, care, self-fulfillment, and dignity. Senator Longmore, many of us older people will not allow anybody to review our drugs. We are fiercely independent, and we hide them. So aging is cross-cutting, as has come out in many of the presentations. The economy and finance. Now, the ILO has a lot of work on older workers, going back again to 95, and will speak. As you consider legislation, you may want to review some of these because there are very good points. The labor force structure is changing. The median age of our population is now into the 30s at 32. Therefore, workers, Senator Gale, are getting older. And we have to look at that. What are we going to do about retraining, etc.? Pension is a big issue. Under services and needs, there are the health care requirements, social care, transport. May I point out that we've talked a lot today about transport. Cost is one thing. No older person with arthritis or surgery can maneuver the steps of our buses. So we can go as basic as that. Persons with disabilities, especially blindness, have a lot of problems on the buses, and especially if there's a problem. And we had some information on a fire on a bus and the blind person left behind. So we have to think about that. Long-term care, end-of-life care. And as we talk about that, vision is a number one problem for older people, so it's not persons just with disabilities. We talk about it as society and the individual, inclusion in the digital age. Much is being said now about digital transformation. I make a plea for the older persons here, because digital transformation is two-way. Not all older persons are digitally literate or want to be. We have issues with banks, ATM machines, and we are told, oh, let your grandchild do it. Let somebody else do it. No, I do not want my grandchild to know how much is in my bank account. Persons are upset that they no longer go to the post office for their NIS because that's their social activity for the month. So I beg, I plead that as we spend the entire day there, one man told me all he needs is patty money to go and pick up his pension because he's not coming home for 6 hours. So I beg that as the youngsters in our society, and at my age I can call anybody under 60 youngsters. Yes, Gramps. So please remember that not all of us want to go into the digital age. Please remember the rural people. The life certificate now comes on your phone. How do you print it in Backaway, OA, up in a Trelawney bush to get the signature? So let us remember that you may have to do this gradually and accommodate the dinosaurs, because we exist. Well-being issues, the intergen, and I've mentioned all of this in the interest of time. So, where are the gaps? We've had many gaps, so these are the gaps from MAWC's perspective. Not all rights are protected, and that has been clear from the presentations. The discrimination, the ageism, long-term care, there are many rights not protected. Through no fault of the formers of the UN Convention on the Rights in 1948, because life expectancy then was 56, and we had no old people to think about. Therefore, this has progressed over time, that the issues around aging, if you think back to some of the slides, and the absence of appropriate legislation. Accessibility and affordability are important.
Well, some very, very interesting insights there provided by Professor Eldemar Shearer. I was particularly struck by the one where she said, to collect your NIS pension, physically, is now being phased out. And some of the elders don't want that, because to go and collect their NIS pension is their only social outdoor activity that they look forward to go and fraternize with their peers, to collect the pension. I didn't see it that way at all. But that is the reality of some of them. She also said that there are several existing acts that need to be revamped to better address the needs of the elderly. These include the Offences Against the Persons Act, Domestic Violence Act, the Bank of Jamaica Act, the Maintenance Act, and the Poor Relief Act.
We had somebody come for a COVID vaccine. The taxi fare from Portland, because they could not manage, was in fact $10,000 each way. So yes, the vaccine is available. It is free. Do you have that amount of money to come for it? We hear stories like that of having to go to KPH. So let us look at transport not simply in the availability of a bus or a car, but the cost. And healthcare is free, but the cost to get there is not free. We have workforce shortages, as Ms. Latty brought out very succinctly, the insufficient trained caregivers, and as I showed in the declining 0 to 14 population, more and more caregivers are going to be needed from the general population. Healthcare and social professionals are all in shortage. Quality of care has been raised by others, raised this morning. The variability in quality of care. Some services don't have adequate standards. I know NTVET now has a set of standards for practical nurses, but where is the monitoring of all of this? In addition, we need integrated programs. What we have now is vertical programs. And it came up this morning about inadequate age-friendly facilities. Something as simple as a bathroom door in a facility, in a public facility, opening out, because the wheelchair cannot go in if the door is in. Never thought of it till somebody pointed it out. So we need to have people sensitive to the needs of older people. Stigma and abuse come up. There are many persons that complain they will go to a facility, a doctor, but it's your age. Pain is not due to age. Pain is due to something wrong. Pain is due to something being wrong. So we need a public education program on stigma and abuse and the whole issues around caregiver burden. If you are looking after somebody 24/7, you're going to need a break. The National Policy for Senior Citizens from 1997 was revised recently. Interestingly, in the 1997 version, it did speak to the need for legal requirements. Nothing got done. And I'm not sure, I don't see it in this, but I haven't read it, the current version. So there's a recognition of the importance of legislation. Congratulations to this committee for taking it forward. A little late, but better late than never. What exists? We have lots of things, and somebody mentioned it this morning. There's the Nursing Home Act, which I think Ms. Latty brought up and clearly needs revision. Clearly it also needs supporting staff. 6 people cannot monitor the country. Offences Against the Person Act, the Domestic Violence Act, there is the Disability Act, the Sexual Offence Act, and the Bank of Jamaica Act. And you will soon see why I have listed these out. So, the Maintenance Act and the Poor Relief Act, yes, could be there as well. So, I have come to the suggestions for areas needing legislation, Chair, and I'm going to focus this on the suggestions that have been made, and I have learned, thanks to you and others that have tried to get me to recognize legislation versus program. I hope that what I'm about to do, with the disclaimer that I am a doctor, not a lawyer. Therefore, I see some things differently in terms of protecting. But I have, Mona Aging and Wellness has suggestions in 3 areas. The rights, clearly, long-term care, and abuse and violence. So we know the human rights principles. I don't have to tell anybody that here. Autonomy, though, autonomy is important. Let us recognize that older people, it's not once a man, twice a child. Because at 72, I have a lifetime of experience and nothing wrong here. So none of you can tell me what to do. You may suggest something and I process it. So we need to recognize the importance of autonomy and choice. Except, of course, for those with mental impairments. We know, we have Jamaican data, that we are talking about under 10% of our population. By the time you get to 80, it is between 30 and 40. But we are talking about approximately 85 to 90% who can make a decision.
Professor Denise Eldemire Shearer, Director of the Mona Aging and Wellness Center at the University of the West Indies. She was making a submission to the Senate committee looking at the creation of an Elderly Care and Protection Act for Jamaica. We have been watching these deliberations because we know we have a lot of people who are middle age, about to enter elder age, and it is a very important piece of groundbreaking legislation, we hope. Time for the break.
Since 1995, we've been your go-to source for everything related to billiards, amusement machines, and electronics. With locations at 1A Lindsay Terrace, Kingston 10, and the Village Plaza, Big Bridge, Savannah, Lamar, we offer top-quality pool table parts and accessories, cutting-edge gaming machines, and more. We also specialize in assembly, sales, and service of amusement machines. We provide unmatched customer service, expert solutions, and products tailored to your needs. Who are we? We are Eclipse Enterprise. Telephone 876-960-3891.
Yes, me get the last cheese. Taste the beat. Brothers and sisters, at the end of Easter service, we have cheese. Taste the beat. But one day we get no bun and cheese. Taste the beat. Serve, sell me some bun and cheese. Taste the beat. Why, this looking nice with some tasty cheese. Taste the beat. Could I have some cheese, please? Taste the beat. Make we get on real bad with the tasty cheese, boy. Tasty beats with tasty cheese.
The following is brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
This project is long in coming. I, maybe about 4 years ago, had occasion to interact with several citizens in the community, and their greatest complaint was about water. They did complain bitterly about roads, but their greatest complaint, to the point where I had second thoughts about my own safety, was about water. And for many of the residents, it reached a point of frustration that they could not understand how they could have been given permission to build, and many of them would have built lovely facilities, lovely houses, how they would have created a wonderful community, and they do not have access, a reliable access, to this basic commodity of water. And as I listened to the complaints, I came to the conclusion that the residents had passed the level of being patient with government, which whoever is the government. There was an impatience now. Because in today's world and in their outlook on life, their expectations when they see other countries having these facilities which they just consider to be basic. Why can't we have basic water? I did attempt to go into a thorough explanation, but they were not having it. And to be truthful, that's not their job. Right? Their job, as Minister pointed out, is to pay the water bill and pay their taxes, and government is just to provide the water. What can be so difficult about that? And let's face it, that's just how it should be. That's the reality. The citizens want government that performs. And that is what has, more than anything else, I mean, there are other issues too, but that is more than anything else that has led to the kind of decline in public support for government. And I'm not talking about political party or partisanship, but just how people feel that their government is effective. The inability of government to provide the basic services that when you compare with other countries, particularly our peer group countries, they seem to be doing it better. They seem to have gotten it right. So I left that meeting with a very good understanding that the only way to restore faith in government is to actually provide the water. Maybe at the provision of the water, I would have a little bit more receptivity to explain why we are in the position that we are in. So allow me to take 5 minutes to explain why it is that the land of wood and water does not necessarily have water accessible to all. Now, to be clear, and just to set the contextual background, Jamaica has a very high level of water access. Minister Samuda, we are somewhere about what, in the 90% in terms of a utility footprint? Right, so in terms of the utility footprint, if you were to take the NWC and the Parish Council and rural water systems, we would cover about 90% of the population. But then when you drill down to another figure now, which you start to talk about reliability, then we have another problem. And then of course, recently, another argument has been creeping in about the quality of the water. So far, the data that I have seen does not suggest that we have any compromise in the quality of the water over and above what would be considered normal. Now, having said that we are not far off from our peer groups, and in fact we are better than most of our peer groups within this region in terms of the access. Our water faces several problems. Regardless of how much water we have, and we do have significant sources of water, no doubt, no question. The problem is where our population centers are versus where our water sources are. There's not usually a coincidence, and therefore that leads to something called distribution. So we have to invest heavily in distribution systems for water, meaning we have to move the water from where the source is to where the people live. It's further compounded not just by that geography, but by the geography of terrain. Jamaica is very hilly. We have a mountainous spine running through the country, so we have to pump water up hilly courses. This community here, Red Hills, Lees Flat, and all the other Chancery, all these other areas are communities that are up in the hills. So apart from the distribution system, we have to pump. Now, once you get into the distribution system that requires pumping, you get into the mechanical distribution of water. And once you're dealing with a mechanical distribution system, there will be challenges, they will break down. But it means in order to mitigate against these breakdowns, you have to have a regular system of maintenance. And that is where largely, not just in water, but in almost every system in the country, we have a problem. The problem of maintaining the man-made mechanical parts that cause the system to function properly. But maintenance is not simply a mechanical issue. Maintenance is a cultural issue as well. We don't necessarily have a culture of maintenance in Jamaica. Generally, both in terms of the public bureaucracy, but the understanding of the public is that once you lay the pipe, once you lay the road, once you put in the pump, it will last forever. So the expectation is that the pump will work and last forever. And that is absolutely not the case. Everything that is manufactured, constructed, has a design life. And they will fail before the design life if they are not properly maintained. But having used up my 5 minutes to explain that, trying to get into the minds of the public so that they understand the challenges that we have, the dynamics of our water system, is that one, for us to do the actual capital investment, lay the pipe, put in the pump, develop the water source, you have to be able to invest. And in order to maintain it, you have to have the funds for the recurrent expenditure to maintain. And what has happened to Jamaica over the last 4 or 5 decades is that we simply did not have the capital budget or the recurrent budget. Our economy was not providing the resources, the wherewithal for the investments. No doubt there were good intentions. I urge every citizen here to take up the annual report of the NWC. That's your duty as a citizen, you know. Go online, we make these things public, and read the intention of the Board of Governors, the commissioners, and the government in terms of policy direction. Let's start from 2002 to now. And you will see that these projects that we are breaking ground for today are not new projects. They were on the books, many of them, for a long time. And they come in the reports, and you see a line item that we're going to do it this year, and this is the amount of money we're going to spend. All right? You read it in year 1, go to year 2. It comes back again. Did it start? Was it procured? Was it because they didn't have the intention? Was it because they didn't care? Was it because they're just lackadaisical? No, they didn't have the money. I make this point because we are in the promising season. We are in the season where you're going to be exposed to good intentions all around. You may even be told that you're going to be given a horse that can fly. And some people will believe. I go to great lengths to make this point, that it doesn't matter what you're promised. You have to look at the track record of delivery, number one. And number two, does the promiser, the man with the good intent, does he have the wherewithal to deliver? I use that word, and it might sound like a big word, is an old-time word, but it is the appropriate word. Do you have the actual ability to bring the resources together and use those resources to meet your intent? And that is what you have to consider as citizens who are soon to become electors. Will the government that you elect have the wherewithal to deliver projects like these? So we have, Minister Samuda points out that we have 58 such projects like we're doing today, for which we're going to break ground for every single one of them, because we have to make the people of Jamaica see and understand that for the 9 years that you have elected this government, we have demonstrated the wherewithal to be able to deliver not just the projects that we originated, but the projects that were promised by previous administrations. This administration has been delivering them. I was drafting a speech that I want to make, and I'll make it shortly. I won't make it here, but I had to contemplate saying to people, we need to have a positive outlook, and we need to have faith. And, there's a biblical definition of faith that I'm certain that all of you here know, right? Who can tell me that one now? It is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. But if you look at that, biblical definition, it is, I come here and I'm saying we're breaking ground and we're handing over and we're showing you the solar panels that are in place. Have faith, because the ultimate objective is to say to the other communities that are looking on at what we are doing here, to say, have faith. But in front of you, why I can say that without feeling as if I'm making you a promise that is empty, is that this is what every other community that doesn't have water is hoping for. But in front of you is the evidence of the delivery of what you hope for. So we are going to be doing just that in our ceremonies that we are going to do when we are breaking ground, commissioning, or handing over. Because it is important that the rest of Jamaica who is not benefiting from this can have faith that the government that they have elected and will re-elect will deliver for them. It is important, because in today's world you find that you are confronted as a citizen with information that is absolutely negative, of which there is no evidence to support it. Pure rumor and lies And how does a government confront that? We confront it by giving people hope of the things they desire and show them the evidence as to how it can be achieved. That is what this administration is doing. We will not join them in the gutter of lies. We will not join them in deceiving the people. We are the first government in the history of Jamaica, uncontestable, I dare anyone to, uncontestable, to have the record of achievements that we have had and will continue to have. We can campaign on achievements. One achievement which has not gotten a lot of attention, and expectedly so, is that poverty in the country has been cut in half from 16.7% in 2021 to 8.2%. Now, when it was the other way, when poverty jumped up to the 16% because of the COVID pandemic, that was in every paper, that was the talk. Even though we had the pandemic, nobody cared about that. Government was blamed for it. Now, poverty is down. And there would be an attempt to say the figures are not real. It's not the government do it. People still are suffer. Now, yes, this data is not saying that we have eliminated poverty in Jamaica. That's not what it is saying. What the data is saying is that there is established a consumption threshold in Jamaica, a minimum level of consumption based upon science. Your caloric intake that you need to survive, so there's a food basket that you need to consume, minimum utilities that you would need, water, light involved, and social services, health, education, and so forth. That comprises a basket of consumption and a minimum expenditure on that for every Jamaican person. I believe the figure is something like $270,000 a year, somewhere in that region. Don't quote me on it. But that minimum figure, which forms what you call the absolute poverty line, in 2021, when we measured it, 16.7% of the adult population fell below that line. When we measured it in 2023, only 8% fell below that line. So yes, there are still persons who are poor, relatively poor, but we can take pride as a country that we have been able to have the number of persons who would be considered absolutely poor in Jamaica. That's an achievement that every PNP, every PIP, every NOP, and every JLP should be proud of, because that's a national achievement. And if we continue with the fiscal discipline, the proper management of the economy, it is quite possible that we could, in our lifetime, eliminate absolute poverty in Jamaica. Quite possible. It is not rocket science to do it. So if the measurement, for example, has in a factor to deal with access to water, and we, as we are doing now, provide persons with an amnesty who couldn't get water before because of their bill, and we make it easier for them to reconnect, we make it easier for them to get back water. What do you think will happen to poverty when they go into the field and ask questions? That element of the basket will go down. The same thing, if we reduce the GCT on electricity, if we help people to connect using prepaid electricity and more people have access, formal access to electricity, what do you think is going to happen to poverty? If we increase the benefits under the PATH program and we make sure that the PATH program's benefit is not just increased but properly targeted, that people who should be on it get on it, what do you think is going to happen to poverty? Yes, that's how you deal with poverty. So we shouldn't politicize it, and I unfortunately have to bring it here, but not in a sense to politicize it, but to give people information about it. That this is something that we should all as a country get behind. Let us eliminate absolute poverty from our country. Another element of, the whole business of treating with poverty now, not necessarily just absolute poverty, is income. And how do we get people to have income? And the only way to do that is to create employment. And unless you're going to totally abolish the unemployment data, then I don't see how anyone can deny that in 2015, the unemployment rate was somewhere in the region of about 13 to 15%. And the last figure I saw is that the unemployment rate is now about 3.5%. I mean, that's so obviously with that trajectory, poverty generally now, not just the absolute poverty, but poverty generally, there are more adults in households that are having income. And then when you look at how the minimum wage has been increased, the base income is higher. So obviously, poverty generally must decrease. Now there are some challenges. We continue to have a high cost of living, no doubt. Energy costs, we don't have any control over that really. Inflation, big issue. And recently I saw a prominent businessman being very critical of the Bank of Jamaica. And I just quickly say here that the Bank of Jamaica operates an independent monetary policy. We pass laws to ensure that the Bank of Jamaica is independent. And the Bank of Jamaica's mandate is to control inflation. And there is a reason why the mandate is to control inflation. There are those who will say, abandon the control of inflation so that we can have growth. I wonder if you see that trade-off and look at who is speaking. Who does inflation affect the most? It affects the poor, fixed income, single mother or father. You know what? Family. Yes, inflation is the bane, the destruction of everybody. So I don't know whose interest he's talking about. The interest we are protecting is the interest of the average Jamaican who will feel the pinch if we don't manage inflation properly. And that is why inflation targeting is the mandate of the bank. And that is why we have managed to keep inflation within that target range of 4 to 6%. Now, there is a certain level of inflation that gives growth, that you need it, and that's the target we have set, 4 to 6%. Now, there is a view in some people's minds that the only way to get growth is you have to deal with the interest rates. It's very important. We don't question that. But the equation of growth has several variables in it. The cost of capital is one, which then works out to a trade-off in our situation because of foreign exchange issues with inflation. But the real way to get growth and control inflation is to increase productivity. And for more than 4 decades, the country has avoided this conversation about productivity. And we have sought to deal with the inflation problem by always having wages increasing. And it is really important to have wages keep apace and ahead of inflation, but that in itself does not solve the problem. Because every year you're going back to the negotiating back and every year, but you're not getting any growth. So you're not really creating new value. And the only way to create new value is by increasing productivity. The issue of productivity, again, is very complex. But I want to make a link as I close. The people in this community who were complaining about their water and getting frustrated with government were effectively saying, you're not giving me any water, how can I be productive? That is the essence of it, you know. How can I be productive if I have to be redirecting my time to get water? And so the investment that we're making here today is about creating the infrastructure that will make our people more productive. So if we bring water to your homes, if we give you proper roads, if we make your electricity more reliable, it is not just good for citizens, it's also good for business. And that is why we have this massive program of investing in infrastructure, particularly infrastructure like water, roads, bridges. Very important. So I hope I've been able to make some connections with you this morning. And I hope that you are a little bit more receptive now that the water is on its way, and that you will have a better understanding of the unique challenges that Jamaica faces. I also hope that you get to see what my intentions are, and that you see that my intentions align with your interests, and that I don't come bearing any horses that can fly. What I am telling you is the practical realities that we all have to deal with. You know, as I close my presentation, you know, the polls are out. I don't usually deal with them because, you know, I don't usually speak about polls. But there's an interesting poll about trust. And as I reflected, you know, Peter Phillips made his goodbye presentation in Parliament, and, you know, he said, you are the politician who went down to Mandeville and tell the people about bitter medicine. You know, it's a funny thing, because having myself and Peter Phillips would have been the two who would have had the greatest experience in dealing with the IMF in that critical time. And when I went up and met with the IMF, I was under no illusion as to what was necessary. Some people came and said they will get an IMF deal in 2 weeks and they will be able to take GCT off electricity. Of course, none of that could happen. He himself came back and said when he met with them, it was sobering. So if you're talking about trust, who is telling you the truth? Who is not sugarcoating and hiding? Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the water when it comes.
Brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Don't fall victim to deepfakes.
Watch out.
Protect yourself.
What is the
For more
TV?
information, visit broadcastingcommission.org or scan the QR code on screen.
Deepfake. No deepfake can't catch me.
Junior, you know say AI can make something will look and sound just like you? One day Junior get a voice note from her granny. Say the food done, the medication done, and she need money urgently.
Need money urgently? But Miss Pat no like ask people for things.
And as so comes Judy get suspicious.
So what she do?
She asks the neighbor figure check pan her. Junior, the lady quite alright over there make her Sunday dinner.
So the voice note a deep fake?
Yes, my love. Come, your food ready.
Right now it look like we have to outsmart the AI. But wait. I really want dege dumpling here, give me.
Me I wonder if AI can make one deep fake dumpling for you.
To learn more about deepfakes, visit www.broadcastingcommission.org.
All right, it's approaching 7:29 and we're going to take your calls now. The numbers to call us, 876-630-937124 or 876-618-8255. Give us a call.
Football fans, it's the clash to determine Europe's king. When Inter Milan battles PSG in the final of the UEFA Champions League, live on the big screen at Carib 5. Join us on Saturday, May 31 at 2 p.m. for the ultimate match day experience. Brought to you by the Amber Group, Nationwide News Network, and Palace Amusement.
Dumfries, first time!
Big goals, big screens, and big vibes. Tickets are $500 for general admission and $800 for box seats. Limited tickets available, so grab yours today at the Carib 5 box office or online at palaceamusements.com. Feel the thrill of the Champions League final, just like you're in the stadium.
Tune in to Cliff Hughes Online from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. as we broadcast from the Ministry of Agriculture's Investment Forum, Thursday, May 29th, 2025, at the Jamaica Conference Center. The Investment Forum is one of the many events during National Minerals Week 2025. The Investment Forum, with keynote speaker Honorable Floyd Green, focuses on investment incentives and sustainability. We will broadcast live from the event, giving listeners island-wide front row access to Jamaica's mineral future. Don't miss us as we unearth the possibilities. So tune in to Cliff Hughes Online, Thursday, May 29th. It's the Ministry of Agriculture's Investment Forum at the Jamaica Conference Center. Catch the live stream on our YouTube channel at Nationwide 90 FM Live too. All this and more only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining.
Papa Nana, good evening. You're up first.
Yes, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing well, my friend. How are you?
Well, we're trying to survive. Who's the co-host?
Cliff Hughes.
Oh, my God. Mr. Hughes.
Good evening now. Good evening now, Papa Nana.
And how are you?
I'm good.
And And how is the stream, man?
She's good, you know. She says to tell you hi whenever we speak. She say, I hear Papa Nana calling on me and bigging me up. Tell him hi for me.
Yes, man. Me have to bring her up. Me have to bring her bigger up. Because let me tell you something. Me I live off our legacy, you know, because I'm bringing a nice son. And right now, me I tell you something. You have helped me out in many ways, so me have to big up my stream, man.
All right, sir.
Yes,
I'm sure she's hearing you.
Yeah. But Mr. Hughes, I want you to help me along the line. I don't know how much you're a Bible person, but who is a Pharisees? What is a Pharisees?
Ricardo?
The ancient Jewish elders, I think they were.
Yes.
No, I don't know the scribes. The scribes and Pharisees, I think of them.
No, anyway.
But let me look.
All right. Let me try and see if we can. If you can help me out, right?
Yes, man. So it's a member of an ancient Jewish sect. Yes. They were strict in their observance. Yes.
Yes. And the Pharisees, I think, could be like the opposition here now, because the Pharisees has always believed that they must impose their belief on other people. That's true. So I think this opposition here now, Mr. Mark Golding, should be not the opposition leader. It should be the Pharisees.
But why you say they're trying to impose their views on people, on others?
What do you mean? Then listen to me now. You ever say anything that this government do that is right for the Pharisees that we have here now? You can ever name anything that the government do that is right for Mr. Golding? Never. And let me tell you the honest truth, Mr. Hughes. I know that the reason why you see when me can't get nationwide me are so much, you know, because we looking through nationwide for the truth at all times. But let me tell you something. Anybody, in my views now, that support Mr. Golding here right now, I think they would support Governor here. I am telling you the gospel truth. Anybody support the Pharisees that we have here now, they would support Governor here. And should in case they don't know who was Governor here, I am asking you if you could tell them what Governor here had done to Paul Bogle and how much people he had hung.
Papa Nana, you don't think that comparison the extreme?
You serious?
May I ask you, you think that's an extreme comparison?
Yes.
So why make it then?
Well, let's go sometime.
You've just been very political.
I am telling you, Mr. Hughes, when you look at it, I couldn't say anything more. There is nothing you want to tell me that this government is trying their best, and there is not one good that Mr. Golding has seen. Look at what he had done in St. Thomas, the so-called thing there that the government had built. When they had wasted $100 million there and did not do nothing. And the people them really sit down and listen to him. You don't see that everything that they do to the present Prime Minister, God always fly in the trap. Every trap that the enemy said, the God fly it. And you don't expect better in St. Mary for the result that them get. Because they had sown Marcus Garvey down there, you have to run.
No, Papa Nana. No, Papa Nana.
Yes,
when do your fellow countrymen that in St. Mary?
And Marcus Garvey said there is the only country, is the only district in Jamaica, the parish in Jamaica that going to that the last is going to see reality. There is the last district or the last parish that is going to see reality. So Marcus Garvey don't predict them already.
I hear
you. I can tell you that.
All right, Papa Nana.
Yes, sir. You take care and God bless you.
You too. And for those who don't remember, we should remind them that Governor John Eyre was the one who
had Paul
viciously suppressed the Morant Bay Rebellion and had Paul Bogle and
executed.
George William Gordon executed under martial law. Yeah?
Yeah.
Richie, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
How are you?
Good evening, Cliff. Good evening, man.
Good evening, Richie.
Papa Nana is right in the sense that the Pharisees is the one who tried to give Christ the problem, and Mark Gordon and PMP is the one that trying to give Andrew the problem. So he's right in that sense.
Caiaphas was one of the Pharisees, right?
Who?
Caiaphas, the one who ripped his garments when Christ said he was the Son of God.
Yes.
Oh, I see. Yes.
Yes, man. Big up yourself, that Papa Nana. Cliff.
Yeah.
You know what is strange to me about the polls, though? I believe that at this point, just about almost everybody would make up the mind who they're going to vote for. How do you respond?
No, not yet. We don't have an election announced yet.
You don't feel like well, almost. But it is sort of strange to me how much people still undecided.
I tell you something, Richie. And I was saying it to a friend this morning. There's a large percentage of people in this country who don't know and who don't care to know. As in, the sort of blissful ignorance that they live in, they prefer it that way. And so, as Cliff said, they don't tune in the way you and I are tuned in 24/7 and we follow every single development. That's not their reality. So perhaps when an announcement is made, they'll probably, peek in, and then if they feel like participating, they do or not. I've had to accept that.
You know what I do? No. A lot of people do that follow the politics that deep. Right. So they don't know the truth about it. I said to Tana and Sanjay one morning that this country needs a public education and politics. I've been talking to a lot of people on the ground, and they don't have a clue of what's going on, of where the problem starts and who started and where the country is from. A lot of people don't know. But anyway, I believe it's like Michael Manley's last election was in 1980, and it was in Shamsab Square, Montego Bay. And he said 150,000 people can't be wrong. He said 150,000
strong can't be wrong.
Yes. And at the election, it was 51-9.
It was dead wrong.
It was dead wrong because you know what I believe that's what they didn't kill him. It was prosecutors supposed to kill him. I believe heart attack. If it wasn't for that, I believe heart attack would kill him.
Richie.
The people follow him like how they follow Christ in fish and bread and vote against him. You know what I believe? No. How can a person going to vote against a government which have so much solid achievement against and vote for one which doesn't have a simple plan for the country? Anybody that could make sense? All Margot and the PMP have been doing over the years, going around telling all kind of lies and misinformation, and people get to know them. They doesn't have a simple plan for the country how long right now. So I believe you saw those people out there. One thing I sure know, a lot of people are very secretive. They're not going to tell you they're going to vote. I know some of them, they're not tell you. They have to stretch about. So I believe a lot of those people, they will say they are undecided. They're going to vote PMP. They're going to vote GLP because they're not going to vote PMP because they can't tell the people until now what the plan of the country. They can't tell them. So I believe a lot of those people in the day when election come, they're going to vote GLP. Because the truth is, life is always all of us, And everybody wants to better for the country, and the PMP cannot tell one person what would plan. An election, I believe, by July. So I am looking for a next clean sweep for the JLP. That's what I mean. I am looking for a clean sweep for the JLP. You hear me say?
All right, Richie.
That's what
I believe.
I hope you don't take the disappointment too rough here.
No, me? Can't disappointed, man.
Me and him have a bet. Me and Richie have a bet. Remember the bet, how much did he say? 50 seat?
Listen me. Hold on. After long, I'm not too sure, I'm not going to say yet.
Yeah, they tell me 50.
We need some more time.
Yeah, they tell me 50.
Ricardo, listen me. Ricardo. You see me now, I start to talk politics and, I bet me I start about, and anybody come to that bet where me can't find the money, me I go to Wilmington, because now if money, I'm going back me. So if you talk about money, tell me. Yeah?
No, you said that if you were right, I would have to give you, I think you said, what did you say? One.
No, man, up till long.
It wasn't money, though. It wasn't money.
No. It wasn't money.
It wasn't
money. Whatever. What me talk about until now, though. Me still on this side. You see, like, Philip sit down, so. Me I look for go away. I see Lisa and I see it up so. When she move from, me I look for go away too.
Oh, I see.
But up till now, me not decide on how much we are going to take, but we still look so we are taking my PMP sheet.
All right, Richie. Willow.
Good evening.
Good evening,
Ricardo.
Willow.
How are you?
Good evening, Mr. Hughes.
Good evening, sir.
Hey, my good friend, Don Bible man this evening.
Who that, Papa Nana?
Because, remember Jesus is saying, oh, be unto the scribes and the Pharisees, because they were opposition against the truth.
He said they were
And
like
the
whitewashed sepulchres of them?
Sepulchre, yes, against the truth of God. And when time them see the things, then tear it down. And when time them see the things that happen, then tear it down. Boy, Papa Nana, you dry it this evening. Yeah, man, big you up. Yeah? Yeah, Mr. Hughes.
Yes, sir.
You know today, a woman almost tear me in a two.
How is that possible?
Yes, man, she sit down in the back of the car and the radio on. But me never tune into you yet. Me da listen one little program on one next station. And the question that they asked was if somebody who don't somehow expunge, who have a criminal record, like a rapist that rape children, that child molesters, and those things, and murderer, and drug convictor. So, right up me here, she say, like Andrew Holness. So, me say, what Andrew Holness has done? He's a thief. So, me say, you find Andrew Holness guilty? Does anybody find Andrew Holness guilty about thief? Yes. Look how much account him have. You know Mark Golden about it. Me say, he's a PMP. No, he's not a PMP. See, then came going to court. Me say, who came going to court? Just then came going to court. Me say, Andrew Holness take the thing to court. Nobody take Andrew Holness to court because Andrew Holness take it to court. Mr. Hughes, you see that you say we really misled?
Yes, they have done a job on the Prime Minister, and some people believe.
Yes.
Yeah. They spent about a year and a half. 2 years. Yeah?
And they believe that lie.
Yeah.
Why? Me don't know. They really tear down the man.
Politics.
Really tear down the man.
Yeah.
So when time me ask her, what happened to Otta St. Thomas? How much time me hear Andrew Hilton say, then get money to do something out there? No, them not do nothing out there. So all the Prime Minister thief and the Prime Minister go out to go do something. She can't answer.
Yeah.
A while ago, when me come in, me go over the wholesale, so me see one comrade. You're not a good friend. So me call her one side and me say, boy, when I go and say time come. So what no change if we no win? She can't answer me. Me say, what the plan on our for Jamaica? She can't answer me. Here she turn to me and say, Mr. Hughes.
Well.
No better herring, no better barrel.
Oh.
Yeah.
So what you tell her?
Me tell her, I say, listen to me. There's a better herring and there's a better barrel. Because we don't have no plan. But this man have a plan and we see him plan. So we not come with to change. What are you going to change? What are you going to do better? She can't answer, Mr. Hughes. So why they are going around and try to mislead the people when they don't have no plan at all for Jamaica? Mr. Hughes.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if you know me, you know. But one day me will meet you, you know.
Yeah.
Because me usually up a Hope Road on that time, you know.
Yeah?
Yeah, in a Michael Manley days, man.
And then you switch.
Then time the Michael Manley have a place right at Windsor Avenue there, you know. Then time me usually live at Windsor Avenue, you know. Yes, man. And I was a part of that movement.
Okay.
But Mr. Hughes, me love Jamaica more than PMP.
Yeah.
Me love my children them more than PMP. I'm tired to tell people Me can't make politics make me mash up my country. Me can't make me the love of one party me mash up my country. Because when me see I go on now, I'm with it and I'm not going to change.
All right.
I'm not going to change. And let me tell you, nobody can tell me nothing to convince me, Mr. Hughes. Ricardo?
Yes, sir.
Ricardo? You know St. Thomas good, though?
Relatively good, yeah.
Yes. And when you see a St. Thomas now, you'd expect that?
No.
No. Well, a girl take the car this morning, she live at St. Thomas. And she turned to me and she said, boy, you have to give what due to Andrew Holness, what due to Andrew Holness. Because it's St. Thomas and make a difference. A big difference. She said, no little difference, big difference. So she soon have to travel from St. Thomas to come at town, come work. She soon can get to work at St. Thomas.
All right, Willow.
All right, sir.
I tell you something, Cliff. That point that he makes, somebody said to me, they don't think the Prime Minister has done what he has done for St. Thomas for a political benefit. And I said, why? Politicians do these things because they want to be re-elected. And the person said to me, a two-dege constituency. So if you really wanted to run up the seat count, you'd go into a more seat-rich area and do that kind of development. And so for her, it can't have been about politics. Because if net gain would have been just 2 seats.
Yeah.
And I thought about that. And I said, fair.
Yeah, fair. But there are 14 parishes. And people are in other parts of the country will look on and say, oh, he really turned this into a reality, and give him credit for it. Yeah?
No, that's exactly her point. But so she's saying if he wanted a direct political benefit, he'd probably go somewhere else where he could,
Yeah.
But yeah.
Because there are only 2 seats in
Just
St. Thomas.
2 seats.
Yeah.
Sonika is a new name.
Hello.
Hi, Sonika.
Hi. Good evening.
How are you? Good evening.
Good.
I have a challenge. I hope you guys are doing well.
Doing well, yes, man. How are you?
I'm doing well, too. I have a challenge, you see. I went to renew my voter's ID a few weeks ago. And let me walk you through the process. So I go in the office. The young lady comes, she asks for my ID and my TRN, gave them to her. She goes on her laptop, she pulls up my information, she writes it down on a piece of paper. And I said to her, but why are you writing the information and you have it on the laptop? Somebody is now going to have to type over the information you wrote from the laptop on another laptop? She said yes. I'm like, that doesn't really make no sense. Anyway, she does her thing, writes down the information. Then she gives me a receipt, and on the back of it she says, you can come pick it up in December. I said, what do you mean December? She said, yes, that's where they are now. The voter's ID will be ready in December. So I said, lady, I want to vote in the election. She says, you can vote in the constituency where you're now registered. And I said to her, but I'm no longer living there. I haven't been living there for so many years. The last time I voted, Roger Clark was alive. And I was one of those who were in the vote business. But now I am so stirred to vote. Only to hear that I am not going to be able to vote in the constituency in which I now live. I would like to find out from ECJ, EOJ, whoever is responsible for the process.
When did you go to register?
Let me tell you exactly. It probably was a month ago. About a month ago.
So remember, the voters list is printed at specific points. I think the last one was in May? This month, actually.
Right, so I went before that. Remember, they were advertising to say, come before XY date.
So you went before that date?
I did.
Oh.
And they said that date was for new people only.
Right.
New people. All right, see here. The date was March 24. As a receipt here, I went on March 24.
Yes.
And it says end of December on the back of this receipt that I have here.
Well, that's strange because I think the deadline for that was March 31 to get on the mail list. That's my recollection.
Right. So I would really like to know
why you feel that you will not be allowed to vote, that you can't get it until December, you said?
Well, she says I can't vote in the constituency in which I now live.
Since she's transferring the vote.
Upcoming election.
Uh-huh.
Right. I'm not interested to go to country to vote. I haven't lived there for so many years.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I'm saying it's a card that you print. I can get back my driver's license the same day. I can get back my passport the same day. Why I can't get back the voter's ID, even in 3 weeks, even if they do a batch order and send it to a central printery, it shouldn't take 7 months.
So it's not that your name won't be on the voters list, that you won't have the ID?
What I want to do is vote in the constituency in which I now live. And what she's saying is that I will not be able to do that. I'm not going to be on the list in this constituency.
Okay.
If I want to vote, I have to go spend the whole day
to go back to
country.
Yes.
Right. Something is wrong with that process. So I'm very interested to understand what's involved and why it takes so long to print a card.
All right. What I can do for you, you can just give your contact to the Tech Up, and I can ask the Director of Elections for you. That's the best I can do.
I would really appreciate it. I'll be listening throughout the week. I hope I get an answer.
No, man, just hold and give your contact to the technical operator, and then I'll reach out to the director, and then I'll give you a call.
Thanks, Ricardo. I appreciate it. All right. Take care.
Yeah, man. Carl.
Good evening, Ricardo.
Oh, well, it seems she's going to get an answer right now.
I think I have the Director of Elections.
Yes.
Yeah, that is very easy to answer.
All right, Carl, we're going to ask you.
Mr. Brown? I'm all right.
Perhaps we should just allow Dana to call him back?
Yeah.
Real quickly.
I'm going to ask my producer to call you back.
So he can give an answer.
You are calling to react to that call a while ago. Yes. All right, let me have the producer call you right now and put you on. Okay? All right, call him back, Dana.
Right, so we can get the answer. Sorry about that, Carl. We only have a few minutes, and we'd love to help there.
Yes, man, no problem. I can myself without sort it out.
All right, Carl.
Politics in name.
Yeah, so Dana is getting in contact with the director. All right, Carl.
That was it.
Director Brown?
Hello, Mr. Brown?
Hi, good night.
Good night. Yes, so you wanted to respond to that caller?
Yeah, what she's applying to do is to do a transfer. It's not a new registration. A transfer takes a while. You have to wait an initial 3 months, and there's a reason for that. We don't want somebody to come to just move your residency just for to get on a voter's list just for a particular event. So we allow a 3-month wait. Over that 3-month period, therefore somebody would have cemented their residency to us. After that, the process takes a while. You're correct in the sense that we publish our list twice per year.
Right.
And therefore, in a transfer situation, your name is added to a new constituency. And therefore, for you now to be officially registered in that new constituency, you have to wait on the publication of the list. So when the member of staff told her to come back in December, the 6-month period would allow her to be on the November list. At that point in time, we issued to her a new ID card reflecting her new residence in the new constituency.
So it's a matter of verification that process will take.
A matter of verification, and the process has related to transfer.
Yeah. Well, what if
you can walk in today and get a transfer to a new constituency tomorrow morning?
But what if an election were called before that? Could she vote in her old constituency?
So she continue to remain on the list,
in the old constituency?
In the new old constituency. So she's not removed from the list.
So she can go back there, go vote?
Right. So she remains on the list until the transfer is completed.
Yes. Okay.
So her challenge is that she just don't want to go back to country.
Yes. Thank you very much, Mr. Director.
Okay, sir. Good.
Appreciate
Good.
it.
That was quick.
Yeah, her name was Sunika. Hope you heard that. But I'll still give you a call nonetheless to relay the information. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that's all the time we have. Dana Davy, Rapunzel.
Thank you very much to our producer, Dana Davy, our technical operator, Andrew Anderson, our callers, and the Director of Elections for responding so quickly. Yes, thanks to our YouTubers, yes.
Them say we're more than a 4% station because everybody listens to Nationwide. I couldn't agree more.
Absolutely.
Did you get a 4% shirt? Them leave you on?
Yes, I did.
Okay, good.
I don't wear it though.
You should.
Anyway, that's where we're going to leave it for this evening. We're going to make way now for Prescription for Life with Dr. Andre MacDonald and George Davis, right? That's where I say good evening. I'm Cliff Hughes.
And I'm Ricardo Brooks.
Reminding you to take care of your loved one and look out for your neighbor. Good night.
Good night.
Tune in